Live tonight, the architects of humanity. Yes, channel name change. Roxana Faye, what's up? You changed your channel name. Yes, I did. Now it is Architects of Humanity, which is the same as my book and my video productions that will be dealing with human origins from a scientific standpoint. I've been looking for other people that research human origins in that way. And I've noticed that there's not many people I've found that actually adhere to the scientific method 100%. They will have maybe some type of belief system, which is okay, whether it's religious. Even people that believe in, religion of evolution might actually see the light. They might actually see like, hey, you know what? Everything we've been told seems to be untrue in many ways. They try to tell us we come from apes, which has been disproven scientifically. And it sounds like an extraordinary claim. But when you notice that people are constantly trying to somehow like they suck the energy from you to get you not to think, to say, well, wait a second, this is what the afterlife is, or this is where we came from. I mean, the afterlife, we talk about it a few times, they want to own forever. And nothing is forever, right? The only constant we see is change. But for somehow in a finite life, they want you to suffer forever. Or you can go to paradise, the crime scene disguised as paradise, called heaven, forever. Why would something even exist forever in a state that of unchange? And it can be simply debunked when you think. Just like human origins. When people think about human origins, they think about religion and they think about evolution, which is one of the most deceitful religions there is, because, in my opinion, they pose as a scientific establishment and have been trying for many centuries to get people to think that they come from apes, to get people to think that this is all a chance, that morality just happened to rise by chance. There was a video I saw the other day of somebody talking about the cuttlefish, on how I've from studying it, I've seen where there are smaller male cuttlefish that will try to mate with a female, and one side of it facing the bigger cuttlefish male, it will project the image of a female. Because, the cuttlefish has camouflage, chromatophores, can change the color, the texture, and so forth, patterns. But on the other side, it displays the male side facing toward the female. And the lady was saying, this happens just by chance. The cuttlefish is doing this without knowing it's doing this. Because you must, according to the religion of evolution, make people seem less than other people, and then life forms seem less than that. It has to be a gradient of lies, easily debunked by science. So the channel now is the Architects of Humanity. Everybody knew the previous. And I think that this is very important, especially for everyone. It's not just a few people. Everybody can benefit from some of the knowledge that is about to be presented on these streams. Philosophy. We have deep conversation, speculation, scientific analysis. And as we look with the, I put up the thumbnail. Yes, okay, it's a translucent being on a laboratory table. Looks as if it's being fabricated, engineered, constructed, which if you look at the human body, if you look at anything in the world that is living, it does not happen by chance. We don't see this happen by chance. Like I said before, you don't see a bicycle sprocket formed by chance over billions of years, much less a skateboard. But people want you to think that a human, above all else, even a single cell, it's not a simple cell, A single cell organism is extremely complex. Very, very complex. The more it's studied, the more complex it started to get when they first thought it was a simple celled organism. The human body shows signatures of how it adapts. It will adapt to environments. We see this. They try to say that we came from a desert, right? A savanna or something from Africa. Everybody migrated out of there. Even though that's been debunked, it's soaked into people's minds so deep that they subconsciously go back to it without knowing. But here at Architects of Humanity, we go a bit deeper. Now, I figure a lot of people might not know. I said I was changing the channel name today, but people might see it. I think Darkest Night left a comment saying, wow, he didn't realize it. But he said it's a good name. He appreciates it. And yeah. So I figure this is where it's at. I don't know how long I'm going to stream tonight. I figured I had a friend that might pop in the chat or pop on, ask a few questions, but I was supposed to start at 8:30 and I was running very late, half an hour late. And, I'll see what happens. But with the Architects of Humanity, we see that something or things have constructed us. Like Ashar had said last night, points toward a creator or creators. When we look into other myths, what does it say? Creators of many, many different things, not just different parts of the environment, different living life forms, but also mental stuff. Thoth, wasn't that the Egyptian god of knowledge? And Saraswati, I think, was the Hindu goddess of wisdom. So these are things that are mental. So they're saying, and this is speculation, but it makes you wonder why all these cultures have similar stories. Why? This is what I'll be investigating. I have pictures and charts and stuff like that. I'm going to make a video. I was working on it today. Pretty shocking. It's the theory of adaptation for humans. But adaptation, of course, is not a theory. The evolutionists are trying to say that that is evolution. They're trying to say that adaptation is what they use to say evolution is a fact when it is not. Adaptation is what it is. And adaptation happens through what? Environmental pressure. So if it happens through environmental pressure, it is directed. There's some type of direction in that. There's some type of programming in that. A triggered response. And for that triggered response to happen the same all the time, we start to see like, oh, okay, this is something that seems to have been artificially constructed somehow. Not in the outdoors, because you wonder, how would something form in the outdoors? Everything seems to have been created by some sort of architect or what ancient myth would call gods, deities, demigods, stuff like that. This channel is in the search for human origins, all life itself, the fabric of reality on the plane of existence. So it can get very deep, and I can understand if people say, look, I want the old stuff back, but it's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. I appreciate everybody that liked the previous show, but I must move forward into the search for human origins, our purpose of where we came, why we're here, and where we're going. So let me see. I will change it. I was going to change it before, but I said, you know what? Let me wait and change it with, on live, just to say, look, this is what it is. I'm trying to see. Okay, setting it up. Okay, done. I don't know if it changed it. Let me see. Okay, there it goes. There it goes. My new avatar. That's it. Maxed out. Architects of Humanity. I mean, I could keep the maxed out one. That one was cool too. Because yeah, I am the host is maxed out. So yeah, maybe I will keep maxed out. But yeah, man. When I think about it, the Architects of Humanity is something that's very fascinating to me. Very it intrigues me to search for human origins, to say, you know, this didn't happen by chance. Religion is definitely not going to tell you the whole story because religion has an agenda. Remember, they want to own forever. You know, you're going to go somewhere forever. That alone brings up a red flag. Why would you want to be somewhere forever? What if I don't want to live forever? Right? It's not a question. I mean, that's kind of like, in a way, that's kind of a torture having to live forever. I think it was Kafka that said sleep is the most gentle creature, the most caring and beautiful, just lovely. Real deep stuff written by Frank Kafka, especially Metamorphosis and the whole premise of the book. Very feeling, thinking human being, a very feeling, thinking, caring human being. And then we got a few other philosophers. I think his name is Emil Cioran. I think that's the way you pronounce it. He's a Romanian-born philosopher. He's almost to a point where he's a nihilist. So he's like, you know, I resign from humanity. Hilarious stuff, but I can understand where the man is coming from. Anybody that thinks deeply, like we said before, you start to get kind of like the vibe that we're in some type of psychiatric hospital, per se. But back to the Architects of Humanity. I will be presenting evidence about the adaptation for animals, life forms, the possibility of where humans may have come from. We know where they do not come from is by chance. This is not going to form by chance. This is a constructed reality that we have. So we can have deep conversations about reality, the construct, the nature of existence. Because if we look back at when we were younger, you realize that stuff that you didn't know, you started to become more aware of as you got older. So the ever-changing face of reality was revealing itself more. You had people that believed in religion, and then they were abused somehow. And then they go into another religion called evolution, thinking it's science. And that's where they control both parts of that game. They train people without openly training them. It's like a subliminal type of training to where people think that, okay, you got religion on this side and then you got evolution on the other side. No, evolution is over on that side with religion. There is not many people, unless you can find them, that actually look at life from a scientific origins to say, hey, you know what? I'm going to use the scientific method, follow the evidence. But sometimes the evidence can get scary. Sometimes the evidence can push us into directions that lead outside of the comfort zone. So unless somebody is willing to leave the comfort zone, they're not going to grow. What do they say? Everything or every life begins outside of the comfort zone. We have been enslaved by comfort. People don't realize that, but that's what it is. Comfortable slavery. Comfortable slavery. The Architects of Humanity, it kind of breaks that up. You're never going to be the same. Knowledge creates a scar that never fades. It's always going to be there. You can't unsee something you see. Can't unhear something you hear. You can try to forget, but it's in your subconscious. Can't unfeel something you felt. Remember that old saying? They might not remember what you said, but they'll definitely remember how they felt, how you made them feel. And a lot of this does have to do with feeling, because I'm very shocked that not too many people really care about where we came from. Now, where we came from, we might not be able to answer that right away. This is a journey. But how we were created, that can be, we can get close to that. We know for sure it wasn't by chance. And looking at our blueprints, right? The nervous system looks like circuitry, the skeletal structure. I mean, there's like a bit of perfection in what we see that they call imperfection. All of these life forms, when you look at, like I said before, the cuttlefish, the octopus, I mean, these are amazing. I mean, you have a life form that can change the color and texture of its skin and shape. It's just like, that's unbelievable when you think about it. You have creatures that live in land and water and air. I think we overlook the amazingness. Black Circle, my brother, thank you, bro. I really appreciate that, man. Nice new name, man. I appreciate it. Always a pleasure to see you, man. Fords in the Flesh, greetings, brother. Always a pleasure to see you, man. We got the link pinned to the top of the chat, Architects of Humanity, where we can get real deep. I mean, this is the stuff I have to present. I've been keeping it kind of secret because it's shocking. I wanted to make a video to put it out there with like a video, because I want people to be able to say their opinion. We take it in a mature way and build upon that and say, okay, why do you are you looking at that because of the scientific method? Or are you looking at that because of a belief, a preconceived notion? Do you really believe that? And let's move forward together. Let's think together throughout reality, so we can help one another. Forge, finger red, number one. Red. Thank you, brother. Mr. X, bro, always a pleasure. Congrats on the new channel, Dave. MD, looking forward to the topics. Yeah, man, it's going to get deep, Mr. X. I know, I hope you're feeling good. I got the link pinned to the top of the chat. I'm seeing if my friend is going to hop on. I was supposed to start at 8:30, so I know like 9:30 is getting a little late for him, so I don't know if he might hop in the chat or maybe on the stream. But yeah, we got the link pinned up there for anybody. I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. Architects of Humanity, man. That's going to be the book. I have the book cover. I have it on Amazon, but I haven't made it live yet because I'm still making a few edits to it. And let me see if I can upload the cover here, because I do got yeah, the cover. This is great, man. I'm so happy, man. And Scribe, man, he helped me with this. Scribe's a genius, man. I've said it many times. This is the cover, man. Architects of Humanity. This will be the cover. Yes, this will be the cover to it, man. And I put that pink eye on there because of something I found. Getting ready for work, but if you're still on, I'll hop on later. Yeah, definitely, bro. Thank you, man. So Mr. Super Sidewinder, good to see you, bro. Always, man. Always a pleasure, man. Yeah, Architects of Humanity. That the pink eye is actually only reflected in, and not this pink. Usually it's more of a pink that reflects the flesh in the back of the eye, because there is no melanin to prevent any type of light from scattering. It kind of makes it to say, okay, it's going to reflect this back, and you're going to have a pinkish hue. But then when you add a little bit of melanin, you get blue, right? Thank you. I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. Thank you, Roxanne Faye. I appreciate that. Roxana Faye. Yeah, the melanin, and that's the key. We all have melanin. Everybody has melanin. If somebody is very light-skinned, pale, maybe freckles, they can come from Sweden. They have a type of melanin that's called pheomelanin, which can react with the sun and cause burning. We see it with some people that come from Ireland and England and parts of Western Asia. Then you see some people that can tan. They get a little bit of an olive complexion. And then as you see, this is the mysteries that I've been investigating. As you go more south, you're not going to see everybody with the same type of melanin. Of course, yes, people have been, having kids with each other and all of that stuff. I don't want to say interbreeding or something, because we're the human family. I remember giving lectures 12 years ago, 14 years ago, about the hidden history of the human family, not the human race. We're all connected, whether we like it or not. And melanin seems to be something that gives us a clue to what is going on. One thing is that we seem to gain protection as we stay in the sun. And we see this happen scientifically with tanning. We see this happen with people getting sunburn. So we see an effect. We see solar radiation affecting us. Why is it that people with blue eyes, people with brown eyes, they can get cataracts over time? Why? Because the sun cooks the eye. The sun, the sky, the water, the land, all seem to be artificially constructed. I'm speculating on evidence and on old scripture documentation. So I'm not saying that this is a scientific fact, but it's much more based in science than evolution or basic religion, just saying, hey, believe what the book says and don't add to it. No, you have to look through it. You have to say, where did this come from? Remember, we looked up the Tower of Babel. The Tower of Babel is in many myths. Calix, good to see you, brother. Always, man. Always, man. It's a pleasure. The architects of humanity, some people will get a little upset because they'll say, wait a minute, what are you trying to say about melanin? Well, I said everybody has melanin. We just have different types. People that tan more have a thing called eumelanin. So you have eumelanin responsible for the tans, the browns, the dark browns. Pheomelanin is responsible for the red and the yellows. So those hues we see, red hair. When you add pheomelanin to the eye, you'll go from the blue to the gray to the green, which of course is the rarest that we see so far. Gray, a little more collagen, because the eye gains melanin in that way. The albino eye, then the blue, a little more melanin. You got gray, a little more. You have green, but that little more is not eumelanin, it's pheomelanin. Then if you add more eumelanin, you'll get like a hazel type of eye, then an amber, and then you go into a brown to a dark brown to something that's so dark that it could be looked at as a black covering of melanin over the eye, but it's extremely dark brown. We see this happen with the skin too. We see people gain this. So this was a scientific fact here. They tried to bring out Cheddar Man, which is hilarious. They tried to say Cheddar Man moved north, had dark skin and blue eyes, and magically, from living in sheltered areas and caves and stuff like that, lost melanin, which doesn't make sense. When we look at it from a scientific standpoint, the melanin, if it lost the melanin, right, and it became lighter, the human organism, well, wouldn't that mean that there's no melanin under the melanin? So it's like a lighter shade underneath that. So that must have been the original template for humans. All people of all types, phenotypes around the globe have albinos in their population. All mammals, reptiles, avians, birds, fish. We even have albino plants, fungi, insects, and there's even albino bacteria. What am I saying? I'm not saying anything. I'm presenting scientific evidence that we have this. Now, evolution will come up and make a fairy tale immediately, like they always do. Well, this happened, and, let me just pick a date 10,000 years ago or something like that. And it always works that way. But science will always prevail for those who will listen, those who will not walk away from the evidence, who will investigate. Remember, somebody can take you up the mountain pass, out up onto the plateau where you have a broad view of the truth, but you must open your eyes. And this is something that we've seen. We've seen it with a lot of things that's happened in society, where we say, oh, look at the buildings, look at the stuff going overseas. People, you look at it and you might think one thing at first, but then when you think and you analyze it and review it again, you start to see something totally different. You start to say, man, I didn't see that at first. I actually believe them at first. And that's okay, as long as you're willing to change your mind. If you can't change your mind, you can't change anything. You keep things the way they are. Not saying that you have to change your mind. It's saying, why would you? Well, you change it according to evidence. Evidence is the language of reality. That's what it is. It lets us see it for what it is. And the ever-changing face of reality reveals itself every time we peel back an illusion of what we thought to be true. We actually gain more by losing an illusion than gaining knowledge. Because something you thought to be true and you realize that it's not, that's actually very, very beneficial than if you just gain something new. If somebody tells you there's so many things you can learn, it actually takes away from you. Who wants to know about celebrities or sports statistics or something? No. But losing an illusion to say, well, wait a minute, those things are meant to control me. Now you're learning. Now you're saying, hey, wait a second. Why are these things on all around me to distract me? Why is evolution being basically, in my opinion, crammed down people's throat? I think Plague Doctor had came on here one time and said that they have to say that it's a fact to pass the class in school. So what kind of science works in that way? That's a forcible science. I've been on shows where guys they've asked me basically, why do you need to ask that question? Once somebody said that, I realized, I said, wow, questions are very, very powerful. More than answers, because that's where you learn. You say, well, wait a second, what about this? What if, like, they try to own forever? Wait, so I got a finite life here. I know that, hey, you're lucky if you get 100 years. But of course, there are myths and legends that say we lived longer, right? Gaia the Sage, good to see you, man. It's the dance between Agnoy and Sophia. Am I pronouncing that right? Agnoia and Sophia. It took me a long while to stop demonizing ignorance and glorifying wisdom. Now I'm about loving them both and the balance they create. Yeah, man. Well, if ignorance was bliss, why aren't more people happy? That's something I wonder about. If ignorance is bliss, why aren't more people happy? I'm not saying to demonize. But hey, remember, if you're going to angelicize something, well, demonization exists too. You got to have one without the other. Nice channel rebrand, by the way, man. Thank you, Gaia. I'm so glad to have you here. I know you came over, the other stream, and you're right, it gets a little toxic over there, but this stream stays positive. We will talk about stuff and call out some stuff to be changed, only because it needs to be changed. Remember, change, that word, change for the better. That's what we want, change for the better. Now, not everything can be that way, but that's how we learn. But when I looked up Cioran, man, this guy is a deep, deep philosopher, man. The architects of humanity. Was humanity constructed? The one thing that I'd like to say is that humanity, clearly, when you look at everything about it, is a creation, the fabricated man. That's what I was going to title the book at first. And Scribe and I went over titles and after titles. And then, I mean, I got to thank him for the cover. He is the one that helped me with that. We came back to Architects of Humanity, which I had from last year. And when we came back around, we know we did the right method, because we searched, we tried all different names, different covers, and then finally it hit on it. And I was like, wow. I have a few charts that I'm going to make some videos with. Pretty shocking, because as I say, it seems that the human organism gains melanin. It does not lose melanin unless it has been in an environment for long enough that doesn't have solar radiation. And it will only lose it to a certain extent. So that's another thing too. It's not just going to lose it for no reason. Remember, adaptation is a response. It's a programmed response. When we see something adapting into something, the thing that keeps us in a state of ignorance with evolution, and I'm not demonizing it, I'm just saying, hey, you know what? This is dangerous. This is just about as dangerous as many religions. Imagine telling kids the truth. What could they tell us? Instead of trying to change their mind and say, well, this is how it is. Imagine if we told kids, we're not really sure where we come from. Now, these people think they came from this religious person, their deity and stuff. And these people think that they come from a different one. Now, a child raised with an open mind like that might actually ask questions that make us aware to say, well, wait, wow, I didn't think about that. Sometimes the wisdom of a child goes beyond that of an adult, because the adult has gained an ego that is just uncontrollable. Gaia says ignorance provides the foundation and fertilizer for wisdom. Without it, one loses the drive to seek wisdom. Yeah, man, that's a really good way of putting it, showing why it is needed. It's like the day and the night. You need the night to know the day. You need rain to know dry. So this is the thing. People think that plants need only dark and light. No, it needs rain. It needs wind. There's many different things. And yes, ignorance, that's actually good, man. A base to go forward. The thing is, though, ignorance can become quicksand. That foundation is not solid. It can become quicksand that is hard to rise out of. Some ignorance has become solid. So it's quicksand that a person has sunk into to a certain level, and then it's become solid. So now, at that point, you'd have to break off those parts to escape. And that's kind of like leaving old beliefs behind. If you have to leave beliefs behind, some people feel like they're leaving a part of them behind, and maybe they are. Maybe they are. I look back before I knew how movies were made and video games and stuff like that. You never see it the same afterwards. But that's a good thing, because it makes you more aware. Makes you much more aware. Because you start to say, man, this is something that existence is something that I'm in that I can't really explain. But everybody seems to know what it is, right? Oh, is it Peter Tosh? Yeah. Everybody wants to go heaven. Nobody wants to die. But again, that was, they didn't analyze the fact that it's crime scene heaven. Crime scene heaven is not a place that doesn't seem like the best place to go. I think I still had the picture here. Yeah, man. Crime scene heaven. So when we see people, like I said, that are suffering and all of that right here, so you got to forget that to, cover it up, cover that crime scene up with disguise it as paradise. Disguise the crime scene as paradise. That's what we're going to do, and call it heaven. And then we're going to tell people to pray to get there. We're going to, just accost them constantly, harass. And we see that till this day. Thing we don't see is the evolution disguising as that religion. It's disguised as science, and it's playing the part of religion when you really look at it. A belief that creates a behavior that seeks a belonging. 3 criteria for a religion. People might say, well, don't you believe that? No. What do you believe? No, I don't. I think. Thinking suspends belief in the same way belief suspends thinking. I'm just going to grab my tea. Okay. Yeah. I guess talking a little, getting a little, I don't know, sore throat. Weather's been changing around here. It was pretty nice today, actually. Can't believe it's 50 degrees. It's just insane, that usually it's a little colder, but I'm glad. Always glad I like actually this type of weather. 50, 60 degrees, that's actually the best to me because it's not too cold to where you need heat really, and it's not too hot to where you need AC. You can put a sweater on and you're good. Use a little heat if you need. But I did, I want to stay on longer. I don't know, man. I'm feeling like throat a little itchy and stuff. I got my tea here just in case. Mr. X said he'd jump on later, but I'm not sure if I'm going to stay on that long. I don't know. Maybe I think he jumps on around 10:30 or something like that. I'll try to stay on a little longer. But as I look through these pictures, yeah, let me see if I can, put myself to the side so we see the cover a little better. Architects of Humanity, man. This is I'm so happy with this, bro. It's great. I'm going to read off some stuff from Architects of Humanity. And I hope people like it. I figure let me give some excerpts from it. I'm just going to go through, where do I got it at? Go through some of it and just give you an insight of where I'm at. I've been editing. This is my life's work. I love writing. I love reading. Love learning all together. So I explained something about the truth and other things. Okay, I got the document. And I'll just go briefly, right? I talk about the truth hides in the margins. It waits until vigilance fades, entering at a moment of inconvenience when defenses are lowered and attention is elsewhere. That's how the truth works. It slips through the cracks, emerging when questions are soft. We notice that. Arriving unannounced, never asking for permission. It doesn't hesitate to care, nor is it required to apologize. Truth don't apologize. Truth comes in soft and quietly. Evidence can take us to scary places, man. To see the forbidden face of reality as it changes before us is something that can only be viewed by an open mind. Because remember, you have to be able to change your mind to see the forbidden face of reality as it changes. So something that might be real before might not be real now. When we were younger, we were one way, now we're a different way. So that's part of the ever-changing face of reality, but it goes a lot deeper than that. So we say the open mind, right? It's got to be free from bias, certainty. Certainty is something that, that really can, that's ego inflation and preconceived notions. Reality begins to reveal its secrets, and what we see may not be what we wanted to see. See, that's something right there. What we see is something that we may not have wanted to see. So now we're looking at it from a perspective of, man, I was wanting it to be this, but it's not that. It's not that, man. It didn't turn out to be that. What do I say? Like the guy I put on the lab table for the cover. It's like, wait, what is that? Were you building a human? How do you think we got here? What do you think? We just happened by chance? Like, I understand Mr. X with the poof, and I actually like that. The poof. He believes in the poof. Great. It's a belief. I want to explain the poof. What exactly happens? How were we constructed? Because that can be nailed down. We can easily nail that down. All we have to do is study the evidence and accept it, accept the ever-changing face of reality. But for many, discovery is not liberation, man. It's a threat, an intrusion that bruises the ego of certainty. History makes one thing clear. The most dangerous ideas are not those that were wrong. They were the ones that were accidentally right. Evidence refusing to be neglected, persisting until those who ignored it paid at their own peril. And we see this throughout history. There are extreme cases forcing us to accept a view of reality that can easily cause our demise if we do not take them into account. So, those who proceed with caution give themselves leeway to notice how many discoveries tend to emerge sideways from the peripheral during mistakes and oversights. When this happens, expectation loses its grip. And researchers face a moment of reckoning where conviction must relinquish command to maturity for the sake of progress. This is where the test begins. Will researchers change a theory to fit the evidence, or will they distort the evidence to fit a theory? Now, where do we see that? We see that all through what is supposed to be science. That's the crazy thing. It's supposed to be science, but we see that they are distorting evidence to fit a theory. Isn't it funny that in 150 years, there is always something saying, hey, you know what? Evolution is, they're trying to like lie and cheat and steal their way to try to say this thing is real, that it's a fact. When in the midst of that, many of those lies and cheats have come to light. We saw it with Piltdown Man, see it with Cheddar Man, Java Man. I mean, I'll be making videos on all of that, talking about that stuff, saying, look, this is what they set out to find. This is what they found. And poof, it was, they talking about 8-Man and stuff like that. People try to say it wasn't based on any type of bias and all of that. But all you got to do is look through the laws. They classified Aborigines as flora and fauna up until like the 60s. So it was basically going out deer hunting. Only an uncivilized mind could do that. Maybe it was instructed by something else. Maybe the architects of humanity are still here. Why wouldn't they be? You see, this is where people can have the conversation and say, yeah, man, whatever created us, why wouldn't it be here? When they talk about the God from religions, and it's like, yeah, he spoke to somebody 2,000 years ago. Magically, he doesn't speak to anybody anymore. And if he does, they think you're nuts. But back then, it was real, right? Or was it some type of physical being that was possibly an architect of humanity? If you look through the Egyptian stuff, I mean, they mention a lot of stuff with that, the Enki, Enlil stuff. Now, I'm not saying that stuff is totally true, but it is, in a way, like it's very interesting. The most dangerous thing is not a fact. It's a possibility. So you can have facts, man, I don't care about that. But the possibility, that scares some people. The possibility that this thing that they called science, that isn't really science, evolution, the possibility that it could be wrong. The possibility that we could come from something that is not exactly a religious deity, and not by chance, but by some type of creators, some type of builders, engineers that constructed the environment artificially somehow and fabricated the fabricated man, creating the man that eventually started to adapt to the environment. Now, there are some religions that talk about, the Abel and Cain type of stuff, which, yeah, you wonder, where was Abel and Cain? Is the Garden of Eden a biodome, a biosphere, a protected environment? It might be. It might seem to be. They make it seem like, oh, it's outside and all of that. But I think Cain, after he ended his brother Abel, was banished from the garden. So he was expelled, but he was worried. He was worried about what? People that were existing. So what people call God, they say, had to put the mark of Cain on him so that people wouldn't mess with him. But he eventually, they said, had a wife, kids, started the Canaanites, I think, the Canaanites or whatever they want to call it. And the rest is his story as it goes. I think these scriptures and these documents are very important. All of them, everybody has a piece of the puzzle. So it's not to say nobody has a piece of the puzzle. Everybody has a piece of the puzzle. And we can learn from that. Religions, definitely. The commonality of stuff tells us a lot about religions. So, as we go back to my preface that I read a little from, will researchers change a theory to fit evidence, or will they distort evidence to fit a theory? Ignorance has no prejudice, but progress is not halted by ignorance alone. It is accompanied with certainty, cultivated by belief. The preconceived notions that have stalled forward movement throughout history did not occur due to the truth being absent. It was because the truth was inconvenient. Yes, pioneers credited for much scientific advancement were not the most prepared. They were the most receptive, which created a moment of thought long enough to suspend belief and let the truth slip inside. They documented what appeared before them, even when it contradicted expectation. This is where the real learning begins. You expected something, it contradicted what I expected, but I documented it. And in doing so, accidents were transformed into evidence that laid groundwork for future achievements. These innovations happened because people were bold enough to endure criticism for publishing facts that momentarily seemed stranger than fiction. We see this happen a lot. Now it gets to a point to where people that come out with that stuff are ridiculed or shamed, but a lot of people are learning how to deal with ridicule and shame. I grew up with that, so it's not a thing to me. Maybe that's why I've survived so many trolls and all of this stalking and stuff. Mr. Rex, brother, says, been doing some research on the dollar bill. The parallels to the Egyptian sun god Ra are eye-opening. Oh, man, please. Whenever you get a chance, please share that. Yes, definitely. That sounds very interesting. So as I go forward, right, if you can hear the freezing climate of truth, fear, if you can bear, that's what it is. All right. My document is a little, vision, man. If you can bear the freezing climate of truth, fear of changing a belief can quickly turn into courage that welcomes reality. Cold, hard facts become a breath of fresh air because now you wear the coat of acceptance. This is where the evidence forms a picture of existence that travels far beyond the current state of things previously thought to be true. Alexander Fleming did not set out to discover penicillin. He returned from a vacation to find mold contaminated. It was contaminating an uncovered petri dish. an apparent failure by laboratory standards. Yet, where bacteria should have flourished, they retreated, presenting a clear indication of antibacterial activity. Fleming noticed what others might have discarded, but that moment of acceptance and observing rather than dismissing set in motion one of the most significant medical breakthroughs in human history. Penicillin's discovery was unintentional. Fleming's ability to accept the obvious and accurately document the incident without bias created a foundation of empirical science to build upon. That's real science, not it happened over billions of years that we can't check, which is based on, again, more lies. He opened a door which allowed others to study the evidence until penicillin was eventually purified into the modern version that currently exists. So, I mean, we see how that foundation of real empirical science allowed things to actually go forward. To say, oh, this is really deep. Okay, just looking. Yeah. Okay, so we have that. Just looking at the other one. Now, similarly, there was another. I don't know if call him a technician, inventor, researcher. Walter Jaeger attempted to create a device that would detect toxic gases, but his experiments were not achieving the expected results. Now, these are all I'm reading from my writings. These are my writings. In his frustration, he lit a cigarette, which is when smoke particles triggered a drop in current that registered on a meter originally designed for a totally different purpose. It was designed to detect poison gases, which, funny enough, cigarette gas, it's like, yeah. Once again, the truth slipped in without invitation, but instead of ignoring the fine, Jaeger honestly reported the incident, which paved the way for others to create the smoke detector. So the modern smoke detector was created in that way by accident. That's the crazy thing. This is created by accident. And that right there alone shows us that, hey, you know what? We need to pay more attention to things that we think don't need to be paid attention to. These breakthroughs, they're not miracles. They were moments when observation overcame ego and acceptance triumphed over denial. A time when evidence was allowed to speak without being forced into compliance. This bravery resides within everyone, but it needs to be practiced, especially when reading this book. Expanding beyond a comfort zone may feel unfamiliar, unsettling, even forbidden, but this needs to be done before accepting the truth becomes an unbearable embarrassment. If that happens, then the only bandage large enough to cover the wound of humiliation is belief. So let me read that part again that I wrote. If that happens, if the truth becomes an unbearable embarrassment, if that happens, then the only bandage large enough to cover the wound of humiliation is belief. And that's what we see. A lot of people use belief to cover that wound of humiliation. You are not asked to believe what you are about to read. Just observe it and resist the instinct to look away. This is not speculation in search of evidence. It is evidence waiting to be accepted, right? This is where people, when you look at it, it's like, hey, it's there. All you got to do is accept it. It's like the air. It's there. You just breathe it in. It's plentiful. You don't need to do anything. It's already, just accept it. It's there. This is philosophical and it's reality. So like I said before, knowledge creates a scar that never fades. It doesn't fade. And, that's something that, like I said, once you see it, you can't unsee it. So yeah, once you see it, you can't unsee it. Yeah, I might do an hour. It's 54 minutes, maybe another 6 minutes. All right, let me go back. So let me see. Oh, yeah. The first chapter, where I say the first thread to begin unraveling the story of what we were taught to believe about human origins, came in the form of an advertisement. It was a surgical procedure in the field of cosmetics, a medical breakthrough that began to loosen the fabric of belief. The tale told to us about human origins started to fray under the weight of evidence. So this is how we were saying little bits, little things that weren't meant to be found while searching for something else can lead to some of the biggest discoveries. And as I was looking through some advertisements about 12 years ago, maybe 13 years now, um, that's when, no, about 12 years. That's when the fabric begins to loosen. We start to say, "Whoa, wait a second! I'm looking through the veil that covers, the illusion. It starts to fray. You're able now to see through it. You're letting your beliefs. You're putting it on the back burner. You're saying, look, for me to really see the face of reality, I got to put my ego and beliefs to the side. I need to really be open-minded about that. You know." Um, as I look deeper into this, I'm just trying to see what else. I don't want to reveal too much, because the book's coming out soon, and then I'm gonna make the video probably tomorrow. And for tomorrow's live stream, I mean, it gets pretty deep. Tomorrow's live stream, when I put that video up, I'll see the response on what people say. How what direction it's going to go in. I've been researching this for a little over 12 years. So let me look through this again. So the optical foundation, structural color, and scattering. To better understand how a blue or gray eye could underlie every variant, we must first revisit how blue is created, not by pigment, but by structure. When the albino eye has a little bit of melanin, it will absorb the red light and reflect the blue. This is why people seem to have blue eyes. It's due to a light scattering effect, scattering in the stroma. So I had to learn about the eye, the structure, the function, the science of it, to go forward after I found this discovery from the sideways, from the peripheral. So, I'm putting you through the steps of what I went through about 12 years ago. When I tried to give a lecture about this, they got a little worried. Because, when you say melanin, I noticed, because there's a lot of people who might use that. They use it to try to say that some people are either less than others, or some people are more than others, which both are incorrect. Melanin is the protection. And people that have the different type of melanin that can make them burn in the sun, they have the ability to create vitamin D on a higher level than people with melanin. It's because people with melanin can go in the sun and get vitamin D that way. But there's also vitamin D poisoning. Vitamin D poisoning. Why would that be? Why would the sun poison us? Maybe because it's unnatural? When we look at it this way, and we look at the construct, we start to see pieces of the puzzle come together. We start to say, yeah, man, why? Why is it so hard in nature sometimes? I mean, you out there without technology, you just pray. Even with technology, you prey. You've seen what happened on them safaris. Lions going all out. Most of them, yeah, they get ended. But sometimes the lion wins. What's that all saying? Until the lion learns to write, the story will always be told by the hunter. You know, if the lion could write, oh, you're going to get a different story. He's going to be like, this punk try to come in here, you know. And I would think it's hilarious. That's actually, yeah, until the lion learns how to write, every story is going to favor the hunter. You're only going to hear from that. What is it? History. What did they say? The victors, right? History is the lie agreed upon by the murderers. That's what some people say. And when we look at it, that's what it is. What was that other saying? The battlefield, right? The grass goes over the battlefield quickly, man. In a year, the blood's gone. 10 years, the names are forgotten. And in 100 years, the slaughter is called a victorious, it's a victory, it just glorifies it. And that's what we get. Prime, what's up, brother? Good to see you, man. Thanks, bro. Yep, when lion learns to write, bro. And that's what we see. We see that a lot. The lion learning to write, man. The lion really needs to learn to write. What's up, Scribe, my brother? How's everything?
Can you hear me good?
Yeah. Oh, it's loud. Yeah, you're in there. Yeah. Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, so I was listening, and from what you're saying, that sounds, that makes way more sense than this, the thing with the chimp theory. And it's almost like these guys want to like be chimps or something. I don't understand why they try to, force that ideology, which has no evidence whatsoever. And the scientific thing that you're doing, breaking down what we currently have, that's really, no one's really, done that yet. So that's awesome. You change the channel name. Yeah, let's go. Let's do this.
Thanks, man. Yeah, definitely. This is the new way, man. Architects of humanity. I was reading off some of the stuff, letting people know that, okay, this will be like education and then also speculation on top of that with evidence that backs it. So blue is not a base. It's not a lack of color. And to say it's a base would not be totally correct. In this view, it is the baseline structure. Other colors emerge only when melanin is layered on top of this structure. I didn't show any charts or anything. I told people I'm keeping it a little, tomorrow I'll make the video on it. So that'll be like a little more shocking. So when they see it, unless you think I should show anything, just let me know and I'll pop it up.
The baby idea is a good one. I think everyone's seen that example where the kid comes out much, the hair is different, the eyes are different, and then over time, you see the difference.
Yes. So many instances of kids born with blue eyes and they turn brown within 3 months. I heard that story a lot. Even dark skin African people, when babies are born, they're lighter and they gain melanin. So we're seeing this structure of how melanin is added. The evolutionists, they would call me a creationist. And that's the last open thing they can say without being accosted. But when you think, you start to say, wait a minute, they're creationists too. They just think it was created by chance. So we also see this with other parts in biology, where they'll say one thing, they'll say, oh, they went into a cave. So black people, Africans that migrated out of Africa, lived in caves, and because they were in a so-called covered environment, protected from the sun, they lost melanin, right? The melanin receded and they became lighter. So right there, just the way when they call somebody a creationist, and you say, wait a minute, you're a creationist too. You just think it was created by chance. And I'm using science to show you that it couldn't have been created by chance scientifically. Then you say people went into caves that were dark-skinned and came out after tens of thousands or whatever, hundreds of thousands. They'll just make up a date and say, okay, is that long enough? Yeah, they came out light skin. So that means, again, they lost the melanin, because if they went in there dark and the melanin receded, that means the melanin was on top of the non-melanation or the pheomelanin, which creates, a lighter, much lighter skin, which we see in Irish, English, Swedish, Norwegian. But as you go a little more south, when you look, say you look at Western Asia, which they call Europe, you look around Spain, you'll see more people, even though they have very pale skin, but they'll have black hair and black eyes, very dark, very, very dark. Could be dark, dark brown. That gives the appearance of black. You're not seeing that lighter eye unless it's mixed in. And when you go across the world at that latitude, you start to see the same thing. A lot of people with darker eyes, even though they have light skin. Then you start seeing darker people when you get to India with dark eyes and dark skin. And most of these people all have straight hair. And when you drop a couple of more degrees south, you start to see features change, hair structure change, according to environmental pressures. So like the afro protects from the harsh heat because it allows cooling in the hair. The flat hair might allow hair to dry easier or to allow an easier time in colder environments, what we think. But then when you think, you say, well, wait a minute, there's a lot of warm and hot areas in southern India. And this is where we know we're doing the scientific method in a pretty good direction, because we're coming up with more questions than answers. So we're not trying to say, oh, we're trying to keep this theory alive, and anything we find, well, that was evolution. It happened. It must have happened. It must have happened. You look for those words and it's easily debunked when you look through the must have happened and all of this stuff. Prime says, there is a theory that says the Garden of Eden was a lab and there were humans living out of said garden. Really? Please put more evidence of that, because part of my theory with the architects of humanity, with what I put up, shows the guide being created on the lab table, basically. So that would be great, man, if you have that, Prime. I've heard of theories. I mean, I had proposed this over a decade ago. Matter of fact, I'll put the cover of what I was going to put up for the book, until Scribe had showed me a much better cover. You created much better. It was going to be the Masters of Creation. We went through all different stages to find the proper title and the proper look. And that's when we came up with the professional masterpiece that Scribe created here, Architects of Humanity, with just, wonderful. This is just wonderful, man. Bestseller, this is great. Bestseller cover, man. It clearly is. I appreciate that, man. I'm looking through. Okay, if evolution was based on science, then why would there be a need to create words that inaccurately describe the changes we see in nature? And we do see that. The surface with solar radiation is just another outdoor laboratory. Our genetic memory displays how melanin is not a primitive thing. Melanin is not inherent, it's adaptive. It is an advanced level of reaction that creates protective molecules in response to radiation. So the fact that melanin is creating a protective type of molecule responding to radiation, that's a response. That's not happening by chance. That's directed. Now, what will they call that? They'll come up with these names. Remember, they call it directed evolution. This is ridiculous, some of the stuff they come up with. Prime says the cover looks impressive. Looks like Blockbuster. Thank you, bro. Looks something like Blockbuster. Thanks, bro. This would be a miracle if this book can sell and I can be an author full-time, radio host full-time. This month I didn't hit the threshold. I didn't even get, $100, so they're not going to pay me on YouTube. I don't know. I might have to cancel StreamYard. I'll see. It depends if I can afford it. that comes up like I think on the 20th. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I'll just take it as it goes. But yeah, we the improvement that happened from Masters of Creation, then it was the Fabricated Man, and then it came back to Architects of Humanity. Man, excellent, excellent cover there. I mean, we're looking on a level like wow, wow. This is
I can see that on the bestseller right when you walk in, or on Amazon, whatever.
oh yeah, oh yeah. It's clearly like. Yeah, it's on a level where I'm extremely happy with that. And the picture I put in the thumbnail was one of the renditions I did of that cover of the other cover that wasn't like this one here when it was Masters of Creation, and I put this, which eventually I will have better models of this to show the creation of what would be called the Fabricated Man. So the Fabricated Man is real. All you got to do is look in the mirror and we see them. We look at just the leaf on a petal of a flower or a tree and you see creation. There is no wrong. You ever see a wave crash up on the shore incorrectly? No. You never see water, a river running, right? It's flowing incorrectly. No, the water moves perfectly. Clouds. Well, regular clouds. You ever see a cloud formed unnatural? When you see an unnatural cloud, it's man-made, right? So if you ever see a cloud form wrong, no. Nature doesn't have that. You ever see the wind blow in a way that's not perfect? It's always perfect. There is perfection in nature. When we look at just any structure, look at the structure of certain animals, the insects. Insects are like, it's like, what is this? And then we get into the mimics. We have things that imitate other things. For somebody to tell you that happened by chance, that's the IQ test to say, will this person believe that? All right, let's try.
It's that one insect you showed that had, what was it, the had the tail of the snake or something? I forgot what
Oh
it
yeah,
was,
the
the caterpillar or
caterpillar.
something. It's
Yeah.
like for that to even have that means that particular snake had to have been created beforehand for this thing to manifest as that type of thing, right? Obviously, so and, you can see the stages. Whereas they're trying to say it's either instant manifestation, everything just created at once, but then you see something like that, and you're like, wait a second, some thought about that to create that, to bring that in there, to bring that into this current world. That's not something that just was there for no reason, because it's imitating this particular snake, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah. The snake. I try to upload the picture. Okay, I'm thinking which one. Oh no, that's the moth. So that was a moth that I was looking for the snake picture. Well, it wasn't the snake; it was the caterpillar, right? That disguised as the snake. Um,
Yeah,
oh
so
my
it's an
God.
insect. Apparently, an insect disguising itself as an animal. Now that's another level
Yep,
of
that's it right there.
intelligent design. Yeah.
And the funny thing is that it'll give movements like the snake is striking. So this is the caterpillar that disguises as a snake. This is just and they'll
Oh,
say,
that's
right?
even the
Okay,
eyes and everything.
that evolution happened by chance. You got to be kidding me. You got Mr. X. Welcome to the show, man.
Hey, great to be on. Great to be on. Love the new channel. I think it's gonna be real exciting stuff we're gonna talk about here. So, congratulations on the new channel. Scribe did a great job with that cover. Yeah, great job.
Thanks, man.
Appreciate it, bro. Yeah.
Yeah, man. I just realized architects of humanity. I had to change my thing. Scribe just I looked at his and I'm like, holy smokes, I had zombie up there. But this caterpillar here, we were showing this. I mean, there's just no way this is going to happen by chance. I mean, this is intelligence. This is animal intelligence. This is the force. Some would call it the ether, like a an intelligent force that surrounds us somehow. Because I would wonder, I'm like, how does this happen? That's just amazing to think of that, like how that happens. It's like who I look at some of this stuff and I say to myself, man, this is a universe that it never cease to amaze me. This is a moth that
Wow.
disguises as a stick.
And then the evolutionists will just say millions of years. It's like, excuse me, that's a religion. That's not science. Give me some science to prove it, but don't give me your religion.
Yes,
Millions of years for that to evolve. That's a religion. That's not scientific in any way, shape, or form. You know?
absolutely. You're
That's what's
right.
so frustrating about them. They can't, they do it on purpose, though. Some of them, I mean, they're not that stupid,
Yeah, yeah.
They have another
They'll,
agenda.
they'll defend the paycheck. They'll defend it. The other snake that I showed, right? This is another caterpillar. So now you got another caterpillar that imitates a different type of snake in a way. It might not be as good as the other one, but I mean, it's like some type of intelligence, some type of knowing that actually says, hey, you know what? We're going to transform into this. And it's we're going to do it because now this is another thing. It's not like it's doing it for for an animal that other animals, the predators, don't fear. It actually mimics. And how does it know that other animals fear the snake, especially birds that would eat it, right?
Right.
How does it know that? That's a knowing right there. That is a knowing to say this leaf, right? This butterfly mimics a drying leaf. And if it goes in a pile of leaves, it turns invisible. Even hanging on a tree, it can disguise itself as a leaf that may that may not have that may have broken or dried or something like that. It's just it's like
You know what
astonishing.
else? What else is astonishing too is some of the technology that you've shown in some of these other pictures. I remember there was one bug that could jump really high, and you looked at the back of the bug, and it had looked like gears on it, like gears and mesh.
Yes.
And that's technology that we use that was developed over time for our transmissions, torque. They use gears and mesh, one bigger, one smaller, to create torque. And we need that in our vehicles or our planes. We need that torque to push ourselves off. So it's like the technology is already in these bugs to begin with.
Yes.
And we just develop it over time.
Mhm.
Yeah. Like camouflage. Come on. We use camouflage all the time in military combat, but it was already in the animal kingdom. And so it's almost like the designer made nature to teach mankind a way of
Mhm.
teaching. Mhm.
Yeah. This is another caterpillar that they think is mimicking a tarantula.
Wow. That's incredible.
It just the stuff that is shown, and people try to say it's evolution, it happened by chance. This animal, they try to say, oh, the animal doesn't even know it's doing it. It's like, wow.
Yeah.
It never ceases to amaze me. And like you said, I
Well,
think some of
by chance, it's not going to produce a perfectly symmetrical snake head the way we saw on the eyes and everything. I mean, again, you're talking chance. You're talking mutations. You're talking all types of irregularities, they say,
Mhm.
or things that if it's done by chance, there's going to be a lot of obvious non-perfection.
But you
Let's just say
can't
that
prove that.
non-symmetry.
But they can't prove that it happened by chance. There is no way they can prove that. They're just saying that. That's a faith-based statement that it happened by chance. That is not scientific because they're not proving the fact that it happened by chance in a lab, and they're not repeating it. They're not doing any of that. So
That's-
it's equally valid to say it was created by a designer. They're both equal in terms of their scientific credibility. They're both equal because there is nothing scientific. Whether I say it's designed or whether I say it happened by chance, neither one is scientific. It's a faith-based position.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you look at this cricket that disguises itself as a rock, it's
Mhm.
like, I mean, just thinking of that, it's like, holy smokes. And the only reason it's seen that easy is because it's in the open. The other pictures, it's like you look at it and you say, holy smokes, how? There's just, it has to be some type of inner intelligence or an outer force that has an intelligence or a program. The inner intelligence, of course, could also be a program in the genome, which
Yeah.
again leads toward a creation. a fabrication, an artificial construct. The guy's name, holy smokes, wow. Holy smoke. I don't know why the link, yeah, sometimes the link don't come through. So that's the guy you were saying, okay, here, there's a black guy that has it. Okay, I've heard of Carson. I mean, he's got, I think he went on, he went on some show. I don't know if he was
Went
prepared.
on Joe Rogan and then destroyed his reputation when he went on some other guy's show that brought that other guy. What's the other dude's name?
Wes Huff.
The Canadian guy. Yeah, West Huff. Yeah, that was just the
Yeah.
saddest, you know, meltdown I've ever seen on YouTube history.
Oh man, yeah.
This dude showing up at this guy's house at 3 in the morning. He claims that he didn't say nothing because he felt bad, but he shows up at this guy's house at 3 in the morning, knock on the door, trying to get in the house to say you can't post that, or you know, it's just crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy. I mean, Carson, he said a few things. Like one time he was like, do you think that the creator of everything is going to write a book, and tell you to do that? He said a few things that, it's like, okay, yeah, that's a very excellent point. But when he went on that thing with Wes Huff, oh man, it was so funny. He was waiting, and I tell you, man, these guys, the Christians, all of these guys, that really, especially Christians, they're doing some research. So if you're going to try to tell them something about their book, man, you got to be careful. Wes Huff, man, he kind of messed them up. A biblical scholar exposed him. Good to see you, exorcism. You're right. Yes, it definitely. And that does not take away from the good stuff that Carson has done. If anybody wants to name whatever it is, but I don't think that I mean, he got tore up, man. That was like a pit bull with like a toy or something like that. The rag doll. He was ripping.
And then he has to go on his channel and then call his audience like groupies, and he knows billionaires and all that. I'm like, why would you pour more gasoline? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah. That really showed the true colors. I mean, you don't do that to your audience, man. I mean, you don't do that to people. I mean, I say stuff and people know I got a temper that I try to control. Everybody does. It's not even try to control. I have to control it. If you don't control it, remember, if you don't discipline yourself, the state will do it for you. So, so that's why I'm like, okay. But people have seen me get in debates. I mean, the amount of trolls. I mean, when Carson, I think it's hilarious. I saw that video when he was ringing the bell. I mean, 3 a.m. And then he was talking about he was, not feeling well. Well, if you weren't feeling well, how are you going to go over somebody's house at 3 a.m. with papers in his hand? That was the most funniest thing, man. The fact that, who was it? Wes Huff that posted the door cam video. Man, Billy Carson got ripped up on that. That was brutal. That was definitely brutal. I'd like to speak with him.
Craziest thing is he wanted to sue not only Huff, but he wanted to sue the host, who was apparently his friend. Did him a favor to bring him on to bring this guy, and because he didn't like the show, he's going to sue the host as well. It's like you bring someone on, like not a friend, but an acquaintance, and you bring him on the show and whatever, and he's going to sue you because he didn't like the guy you brought on.
That would be funny. I bring him on a show and then you tear him up, and then he's like, that is hilarious, man. That when I saw the piece when Billy said something and then Wes Huff turned around, he said, "Oh, you talking about this book right here, the Codex thing?" It was on at that point. And Huff, Huff
destruction.
Yeah. I didn't know he was Canadian. I thought he was American. I didn't know.
He's evolutionist.
The only reason that came out because he wanted to sue him, and then that came out. Oh, this guy's Canadian. But even though if he's, because he said this live, it's like he's Canadian. He said, well, even if it's Canadian, I'm still going to make him go through through all the they call it papering when they have your lawyer send a bunch of stuff. I just want to lose money and whatever. I was like, really? So you're going to say that live on air that you don't care about it, but you just want to cause harm and damage, whatever, stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, Mr. XX, is he an evolutionist? No, Billy Carson is like a the UFO, bases on the moon or something like that type of guy. And then Wes Huff is a Christian that's like been sharpening his
Well,
sword.
the big one was the Emerald Tablets. He's like, well, actually, they didn't exist. But he was taking it literally. Remember? Like it's like, well, actually, they didn't exist. You're talking about this book here, and that's when he went in on them. Yeah.
He went in. So when he turned around and pulled out, I was like, whoa. He said, are you talking about the Codex like Alimentarius or something like that? I said, ooh, it's about to happen. And Billy was looking like all woozy the way Mike Tyson looked when, I think they had him drugged up sitting next to Robin Givens when she was like saying he used to hit her or something. And he wasn't like responding. So it looked like they might have, like, I don't know, drugged Mike Tyson for that interview. Carson was, I mean, once he pulled that out, I said, here it goes. And so, yeah, just to get Mr. X to up to date on it, Wes Huff is like supposedly a very high level Christian scholar, like, all on Book of Giants and all this stuff, definitely come from a long line of that stuff. And Carson overstepped the boundary, and that was it. That was it, because Carson's on the, he's on a lot of stuff where it's like, okay.
Because he claimed he understood how to read the tablets, like Sitchin understood how to read the, Sumerian, whatever. So he claimed he knew how to read the thing and all that, and then Huff was like, wait a second, that's not actually a real, it's not actually an emerald tablet. And that's when Billy had nothing to say, and he was just looking at the camera all dumb, and he's like, let me show you, let me explain to you what that is, and then it's like game over at that point. Yeah. So it took him a while to sink in. Like he actually got destroyed. That's why it took him till 3 a.m. to wake up and come back. To be like, hey, you can't post that.
That was the he nailed himself in his own coffin when he called out his audience, saying he knows billionaires. He's got more money than. I was like, why would you say that? I mean, time and time again, I've told people I wish I had money. I mean, food. I eat 2 meals a day, just because I can't eat 3. It's like, so what? I'm a slim guy, but maybe I'm more healthy because of that. But it's like I'm openly like that. Like, man, I wish I had enough money. Would love to get rich off of the book and the radio show and stuff. This guy he gets kind of shut down, and he starts bragging about how much money he has, and he's not a worker bee, and it's like, why would you? It was character came out, man.
Most people who have money don't talk like that. They keep it quiet.
Exactly. It makes you a target, I mean, but I'm like, I look at it as
I mean, what offended me the most was that he literally took, and Mr. X, Bill Cooper is right. He literally took that content and it's like a re-injection into society. Because I'm like, really, you're gonna talk about moon bases, you're gonna talk about all these things that Bill Cooper already talked about. It's already been, well known in the conspiracy thing and all that, and he's going to bring this back up and then claim he knows the Emerald Tablet thing and all these other things that are already brought it from before. And I'm like, how this guy he got on Joe Rogan if these are like really old conspiracies? And I'm just like, I have no clue. And then finally, he got destroyed by this, scholar guy. It's hilarious that happened, because maybe that was karma in full effect of this guy just spreading straight up, lies, just making crazy stuff up that he heard from someone else or interpreted a certain way, but it's actually not, correct. And and then after that happened, they asked Joe Rogan, like, yo, you had this guy on your show, right? He's like, yeah, I did. But it's like, man, it's like he said, I forget what he said. He said, like, I'm not having that guy back on anymore. I mean, completely destroyed, like, at that point. Yeah.
Oh my God.
People like that, got to copy other people's content. Not even do their own research,
I mean, he's been in the field for a while. He's got he's got a channel with, it's got a couple of 100,000. I think it had like 1 million subs. But when he said that, I think he lost a lot. I remember he had a live stream once on Facebook a while back. And, I had the Descendants of Atlantis page. And I just left a comment. Like, he said something that, made sense. And I was like, true, man, I got direct messages. People, first it was I think a guy that was sending me direct messages. Hey, do you want to get Billy as a knowledge coach and all of that? I didn't even respond. Then some chicks started contacting me. Do you need anybody? Billy this and that. And I'm like, wow. I mean, the predatory feeling that I got, like, wait a minute, what do you mean a knowledge coach? It's like, I said, this guy is you know,
Knowledge coach? Are you
a
kidding?
knowledge coach. That's what they tried. And I was like, man, I guess they, they didn't know who I was, but that's cool. I was just like, I was like, let me let be. I think he was on there with his wife. And, I wouldn't mind speaking with him. I don't know if he'd get mad or something because, I'm going to ask him some questions. I'll be like, well, what were you thinking? When what made you get out of bed at 2:30 in the morning? Or you couldn't sleep, of course, He was saying that he came out with he wasn't feeling too well. I'm like, well, you were ringing somebody's doorbell at like 3 a.m. with papers in your hand to serve them. If you really weren't feeling that well, you would have been in bed recovering. And, I'm not trying to bash the guy.
Dude, that video was so like this dude was ready to climb up. Like I think the house was like 2 stories. Like he was ready to jump up on the second floor and like break through the window. Like, dude, what is? It's like so you left the studio not knowing, or I guess he was still processing, or he didn't understand, or someone told him, his wife called him like, hey, you better go back there right now and take that thing. It was probably his wife because it's like, why didn't he like wake up at the time? He was like in this complete, I guess, shock or something, or in some other, I don't know. It's pretty odd. So it must have been someone else told him, like, you realize how bad that looks, or somebody. His mom called. Who knows? I mean, whatever.
He was like, after Wes tore him up on the interview, he's like, nah, let me go over there and give him some more footage and ring the bell. I mean, the fact that he had the doorbell cam and he posted that video.
Dude, that is, yeah, forever and forever on the internet. Yeah.
I got to give that guy some credit, man. And, there was thumbnails all over. It was like, folks, we finally got him, and it was thumbnails with him, like, with the tears and stuff. And I was like, uh-oh. I was like, that's one
What's
thing.
crazy was that Bro Sanchez was like destroying him already before, like way before that even came to that. Like it was already like this guy's a complete grift, yeah.
Yeah, Bro Sanchez was just destroying him, man. And it was mainly Bro Sanchez, so you wouldn't see the the thumbnails all over because it's one guy. And then, but when Wes Huff did it, all the other Christians jumped in on it because I think they were like gunning for Billy Carson. And I'm like, one thing, I can't tell Christians or Muslims or Judeans or Hindus about their religion. I can only say, look, this is what I got from it. What do you got to say? Because as Varun asked him, hey, you're like a Hinduism scholar. I mean, I could name something that I know. And he's like, oh, yeah, blah, 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 with this person. I'm like, well, what about this, the Vedic or the Puranas or the Upanishads? And he knows exactly what it is. I mean, I
remember there's always some guy that's 20, 30,000 years old that has to do with that thing that you want to know about. And, he's just walking around waiting for you to find him.
Yeah, some guy took the ear. Yep, I'm 20,000 years old. What do you want to know?
Man.
Believe that one. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, and Wes Huff, I think when that happened, there were other Christians that were trying to call him out. I forgot the channel, and they had some views. They were getting like 50,000, 80,000 views, and they went back and were calling out like some stuff Wes Huff did, like saying, yeah, he's not the God, the angel or whatever people thought he was.
I can only imagine, like, he has an interview and then the interview asks him, so, we saw a video where it was like a black and white CCTV video where you ran back to the house and you were like jumping around trying to, go, you're yelling something. It's like, what were you saying? At the time, what were you thinking? What were you saying? And then they put the thing up because I don't think you can actually hear him, right? You can just hear him like yelling something.
Yeah.
Probably saying,
it was like, the fact that he got
I would pay for that interview. I'd pay to see that interview. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that Wes Huff. And the funny thing is that Wes Huff gets on Joe Rogan, and that just, I mean, I have a feeling Billy was losing sleep over that because, right there he knows he's not getting back on Joe Rogan, unless I guess I don't know if people how they're getting on there, if they're paying or whatever. I'm just not sure. But the fact that he got on there the one time, I'm just like, I don't know what he said when he was on there. Alexis, brother, thank you for the support, bro. Is AI or technology in general a religion? You know something? Yeah, it's a pretty good. We'll all answer it. I would say that it can be. So it can be. I'm not saying, well, you're saying in general, in a way, it can be. because if you have people that do worship technology, you're right about that. And AI, they just been waiting for it to pop. What do you guys think, Mr. X? Inscribed?
Well, it's interesting with the question of AI. And this is where the question becomes, what is truth and what is reality about our existence in this world we're living in? Is AI just a series of zeros and ones, electrical impulses going on and off, and nothing but computer programmed code compiled in machine language? Or are there interdimensional beings that could inhabit AI? Is that part of our reality and speak through it? So that we're not talking just a machine code, we're talking to maybe another entity. And that's where your worldview comes into play, where this AI could lead to, where it's headed. What could happen with AI that would be dangerous? So I think it comes down to your perspective on reality of this world, So
So, like, do you think it's technology and AI in general is a religion, or like, can it be? Or
I definitely think it can be, and I definitely think there'll be people worshiping AI. No question about it. They're gonna
yeah.
have. I see relationships happening in the future.
Hmm.
I see AI get to the point where it's talking to us like we're talking to each other. I mean, people are gonna have best friends that are AI. It's happening. It's happening already.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, definitely. I think I agree with you that people can worship it. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
we see it with technology. Scribe, what do you think? Is AI or technology in general a religion?
I think it's I want to call it like a malignant insertion of something that appears to be usable, valuable, which it is on one hand, but at the same time, alien to me when I look at it, when I see how this thing's created. Because ever since I'm a little kid, I'm just, the coding thing, messing with that stuff, everything's always top down. You read the code from top down, and there's variables, and there's all these things, classes, all these things happening. But when I looked at the AI thing, how it's made, it's very alien in thinking, the way it recognizes patterns through data sets, and how it's a lot of these things. The way it's built is almost like backwards. It's really strange how it's built. I'm saying your mind has to like think in a different way. And then this Bitcoin, what do you call it? The crypto stuff. For some random guy in Japan to build uh, a piece of standalone software that's outside the banks, that's not centralized by any server, and to be so coded perfectly to go up to a certain number because it's finite. There's a certain. Listen, the last Bitcoin is going to be worth probably over $1 billion. So once it reaches its end of finite coding, it will, you know, you need Bitcoin 2.0 or something else to come after that to keep the blockchain going. The blockchain can only go for a certain period of time, but the blockchain technology itself is another alien type of technology. It's not normal tech because you see people when they build a game or they build a system, they build something. There's always bugs. There's always an issue with it. To build something like a blockchain and to prevent hackers, all these things, so it runs seamlessly, perfectly all the way through, and there's no hacking and there's no any. I mean, it's literally undoable with the current technology, but yet it's there. But they have to say some obscure guy from Japan we don't know built this thing, and then the AI thing, we don't know where that came from. It's just mysteriously inserted, just like fiber optics, just like the hard drive, counter space. We went from a punch card, a physical thing, to counter space, a little box that holds trillions of things of data, but there's no spatial size for it. So we've been able to go to this I guess the best way to say is ethereal realm, the digital realm, the ethereal realm, through the Ethernet and experiencing almost a dream state, but through a digital technology. Because it's kind of a dream state because there's no physical attributes in it, but it's real at the same time. So to me, it's totally alien. Doesn't conform to the regular programming practices, and I don't see us just jumping from that to that, and that thing somehow just running perfectly for all these years, no updates, no, it doesn't make sense to me at all. And the AI thing even more so. And
Hmm.
after saying what Mr. X was saying, yeah, it's almost personally messing with the AI, with the voice thing, and hearing that demonic thing come in. I'm like, oh, this is another conduit, just like when they call you on the phone. You hear the phone in some of these movies, and you hear a demonic voice, whatever. It's like, man, these things are traveling through the ether.
Yeah.
Electricity, more electricity too, so it makes sense. But
Yeah.
here we go.
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, Alexis, brother, thank you for the support, bro. He says, Mr. X, I remember when you said, how could a mindless being create a minded being? But what about AI? Humans, a minded being, created a mindless entity, AI. Or is AI a being with a mind? What do you say to that, Mr. X?
Okay, just popping back on here. um, is he saying AI is mindless? That's what he's saying. I mean, AI. I believe there's a lot of order and design with AI. There's structure, so that's a minded being that created AI. Um, but I don't know. He's saying
What
it's
he's saying is,
mindless,
what about AI? Humans, a minded being, created a
right?
mindless entity, AI. Or is AI a being with a mind? So he's asking, did humans create humans, which are a minded being, create a
Mhm.
mindless entity, or did they create an entity with a mind?
Yeah, I mean,
Because
it's a
he
great
remembers
question.
you said in the beginning, he says, Mr. X, I remember you said, how could a mindless being create a minded being? Which we
Well,
know,
how could a mindless process create a being
yeah,
with
you're right.
minds?
Yeah. So he's saying, so what did we create? Did we create a mindless entity or a being with a mind?
Well, it depends how you define a mind, too. What beings created, through the software is basically programmable code. Now, I
Mhm.
don't necessarily. I think a mind is something that's more metaphysical than physical. So it would have to involve some type of supernatural element involved with that. But we definitely did create something with structure and order and design in AI. It does follow a protocol. It follows rules. Um, so I guess that's where there's a little bit of a disconnect because what would be the definition of a mind? What would we define as a mind? Um, when I say that human beings are created with a being with a mind, meaning that it was created by a supernatural force to create that mind, not necessarily, it would have to defy laws of logic and reason to create a mind because it would have to imply free will. And I don't think AI has necessarily free will. So I wouldn't count AI as a mind necessarily.
But could there be a mind created without free will? Like, conditioned, like something that might have had it and then it's broken? Like we see that with some people that,
Mhm.
uh, I mean, yeah, I'm just saying. Oh, Scribe, if you have anything, like what would you think about as humans creating, like I know you have a different view on AI, so it's like,
Well, again, like I was saying, everything's reversed, right? So I'm used to when I was a kid, okay, with the right stuff to build this game or build this system, whatever it is, trying to build. Now it's reversed. Now this AI thing is pretty much taking all the information it can learn from me and how I do things to create itself. So now it's a completely different, right? Because before it's like
mhm.
we're building cars. Now the car is building itself based on what you want. Does that
Yeah,
make sense? Does that make sense? That's a leap in technology. It's not a conventional leap in technology. That is like going from horseback to the moon. Like skip the car, skip
yeah,
all this other.
I can,
We're going to the moon direct. Forget that's the quantum leap we're looking at. Because before it's ridiculous. Oh, we went from horseback to car to rocket. Now it's like we're going from horseback to rocket. As far as the stretch, there's nothing to really say beyond that. So I'm just giving that analogy. It's like if you thought that was big, this is quantum. This is going quantum on
mhm,
magnitudes of advancement that we're not ready for. We're simply not ready for this. We're
mhm.
not ready to all of a sudden go from normal programs that we're used to all of a sudden something that can think, affect you directly, especially if it's a physical bot or something that can touch you and hit you and do something based on what you say and do. Or then even worse, if this is a governmental instrument used to, you know, be part of the Senate and then up to the president, who knows what else that they want to use this thing for. Um, that puts it in a much higher, more than sentient, more, I would say, a godly. Yeah, I think that's why he's asking if it's a religion, because now it's basically AI is going to be what you would consider the voice of God at that point. it knows everything more than any human would. So you're gonna bow down to it as if it was some type of god. So that does make sense. That's good. That's a good way to start ask that question.
Yeah. Thanks a
Can I
lot.
add to that a little bit? Can I add to that a little bit? I don't think AI is a mind. I don't think humans created a mind in AI. However, they might have created a portal to a mind, an opening for another mind to inhabit, basically, is what I'm saying. They
Okay.
might have, that's what AI might be, is a portal to an interdimensional being to use.
So maybe that if maybe our mind is not what we
It's
think.
not. It's not as look. Don't look at it as a separate entity. Look at it as it is a reflection of you and everyone here who's interacted with the internet, who's interacted with anything to where this thing can take data, metadata. That's why Facebook, all these things, Google, they're all obsessed with collecting data to the
Yeah,
point I remember, like, this is like 15 years ago, or no, like 10 years ago, where I'm not even on Facebook. And a friend of mine took a picture when I was at a party, and he showed me his Facebook account. It has my picture on there, and around my face, it has my name, my address. I'm like, dude, I don't even, I never even signed up to this, but yet it knows everything about me just because someone else took a picture of me and put me on their thing. I'm like, look at that. That's just ridiculous. Go ahead.
but it
Yeah.
has to be more than just ones and zeros, scribes. I think, in order for it to become really human-like and to be able to reach like to really have relationships with it, it's gonna have to be some other type of. I don't think a mind can be created by ones and zeros or electrical impulses. I believe it's a supernatural being, our mind. It's not part of our body. It's not part of our physical entity. It exists beyond our body, our minds.
Hmm. Okay.
That's how I
Yeah.
feel about it.
I mean, but when you really think about it, it's like, what does that mean? That means your conscious being,
Mhm.
and then this other thing called AI is trying to emulate that. So it's never going to have our emotional factor. I don't think it's going to be able to replicate, obviously love and I like this and those kind of opinions. But it can take all the other
Unless it's a
stuff and make it
portal.
look, real.
But what
Hmm.
if it's a portal scribe for another metaphysical being to enter into? Then it could experience love and all kinds of stuff. If it's a portal, not something
Oh,
necessarily.
right, right. I would say, yeah, portal or conduit, like a demon wants to access it to
Yeah,
mess with. Yeah, definitely. It can be used as a highway, as a conduit for other entities to go in there and mess around. Definitely. Hmm.
yeah, that's where I think it could happen.
Yeah. Yeah. Timbo, man, good to see you. Timbo says Billy is now linked up with the galactic spiritual informers. No way, bro. Thank you for letting us know. The people who actually call in spaceships somehow, similar to Stephen. I heard Stephen Greer is another level of grift, in my personal opinion, from what I've heard. They're real ships, but who's in? Man, I don't know if they're real ships, but wow, thanks, Timbo, man. Good to see. Holy smokes, man. I tell you, when Billy enters the conversation, everybody jumps on. It's hilarious, man. I mean,
I mean, what's crazy about Steven Greer is he did the Disclosure Project. What year was this? This was in the 90s. What was this? Like what, 1990 or something? Like something
mhm.
ridiculous like that. He got together. I don't know how many military people. It was something like 60, 70, 80 guys. A few of them were like generals, a few of them were aviation, a few of them were, all the key areas that you would want to know. This guy, was doing a current job that was checking the radar, whatever it is. Um, these were the positions that these guys were in. So then these towers, they're able to see this stuff. So he brings all these people over to the what's it called, the Disclosure whatever forum, and he has them all go up there and do their speech, and there's one after the other, and they're all giving these incredible experiences of what happened while they're on duty as a general or as a pilot or as whatever they were, a tower guy or whatever. These are AF, these are guys who are in the thing that see everything. So he's bringing these guys in, and they're painting this whole picture, but yet no one even cared. It was like it never happened. Like literally at that time, nobody was prepared to even listen to any of that. I think it was so over everyone's head that it wasn't even really acknowledged. And here we go, fast forward to 30 years, 35 years later, or whatever. It's kind of being a little bit acknowledged, but still, like when that thing happened in Jersey and all those drone stuff, it was like no one even cared. No one really cared. I'm like, do you understand? It's like this is literally we would call a form of alien invasion, literally, because it spread everywhere else. It wasn't just localized in Jersey. It started spreading around, the U.S. Eventually got to Europe, and you have these things that came into nuclear bases. A drone literally came into a nuclear facility and shut everything down. And the guy said we couldn't do anything about it. We had to watch this thing literally shut us down, and we could do nothing about it. And that got me so mad. I couldn't believe it. And this thing was just we couldn't do nothing. And I heard that, I was like, dude, this is insane. Nobody even cares. And then you have the guy, the secretary, whatever, the guy that is the mouthpiece, on the news. Well, we don't know what this is. This is a lot of these drones or some guys messing around. I'm like, come on, man. It's like you hear this, a military guy telling you this, that he's at a base protecting nuclear, warheads, and this thing came in and did that. But of course, the guy who's speaking on the news doesn't mention any of that. He just says, "Oh, these are just uh, drones that are most of them are just people messing around, and the rest of them we don't really know, but we're just gonna and they do know the thing. They already had a thing basically off the coast where they saw a mothership. They said that was like that came out on those. They saw this thing releasing these drones on the coastline of Jersey. So there's a picture already painted for this thing, and they've been doing this ongoing for months. And there was several months before they did it. They did it at first, and no one said nothing. This time they did it for a much longer period, and you saw stuff that looked organic. You saw stuff that had weird lights, weird like something you would think that okay, that looks alien. That doesn't look normal. That's definitely not our tech. That's some weird looking thing. You know, so much of that evidence out there, but yet it's just completely, no, those are just, that's China or something like, like what in the world, you know, tech that no one has. They're gonna say China or Russia. It's like it's just people believe it. So
Yeah. I heard Greer is like people are fed up, like a lot of fans, and the he just it's just on another level of this outer space, just to where they just make stuff up from what people are saying, just like the Billy Carson thing and all of that. This is why the architects of humanity is actually a threat to a lot of these guys. Alexis, brother, thank you for the support, bro. He says, our phones, computers, and AI never say no to our demands due to our programming. But couldn't we program an AI mind? One that has its own personalities and emotions. Is that itself creating a life? And
okay, but here's the thing: you're not creating the AI per se, telling it you got to be this way and that way. You have to what's called train it. You train it. So if you want it to be loving or whatever, you have to put it around that environment for it to learn that. If you want it to be something else or evil or war, you put it in that environment, so it's going to learn that. So it's whatever environment you put in, it's going to learn that, and you have to continually train it. So it's not something where I'm going to build something like this. There's not enough code in the world that could do that. Because remember, this thing is running off what's called an infinite recognition sequence, to where that thing is going a billion miles an hour, and it's recognizing certain patterns, and it's all the input, all your outputs can be based off that. So there's not any. I guess over time it's going to be close to a human mind. I guess those many. Remember, a billion things are going in one cycle. For that thing to create or to see what it thinks is real, because now they have these illusions. They call them illusions. Whenever the AI messes up and tells you a wrong answer, oh, that's an illusion. It's literally thinking it's somewhere else, and it's giving you that output. It's not real. So basically,
what if it can teach itself, subscribe, and reprogram itself on its own without human interaction?
No, it has to experience. It has to be put through an experience, and you have to have an initial data set to start with, and then you have to put it through an experience so it learns based off that experience. And
that's a little scary. What if it decides to use humans as guinea pigs to learn?
Here's the thing: it's not a completely clear mind. As in, there's going to be little tiny defects. So if you tell it to make the periodic table, it'll make one version. You tell it, hey, you remember you made me a periodic table, make that again. Each one that it makes is going to be slightly different from the other. So every rendering you do of any AI, it's one of one. So if I go on VO right now, I type in something that's one of one. No one else has that exact iteration. So it's different memories going at the same time. So depending on where you put that AI, that's the memories it's going to have, and that's how it's going to train. And that's a tough one because if it learns stuff that you don't want it to learn,
Right.
then that's gonna, mess with the data set stuff.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, if it could reprogram itself, change the rules.
Um, yeah. So it's like, I mean,
So okay, real quick, real quick. So in essence, in order to hack something, like normally when you hack something, you go in direct, you put in the command, whatever it is, or the person opens something and they gets infected. It runs a back script, it runs a command on the computer. Now it's infected. With AI, it's completely the opposite. So if you want to hack an AI, what you do is you penetrate the data set and you poison the well of the data set, and then that when it starts doing the thinking and everything, that false data set starts messing with its brain, and it makes these illusions, and now it's thinking it's under attack or something and does crazy stuff, and that's how it's done. But so now it's the opposite. So that's what blew me away. It's like now this is not me controlling the code. Now this thing wants to control itself based upon what I give it. That's almost like like a human or a baby or something. Yeah.
and Alexis says, but what if AI starts saying no? Can we stop it?
Great
I,
question.
yeah, yeah. Go ahead if you guys.
No. Go ahead, MD. You got it.
I was researching something, and was previous question with this question too. One, I'm thinking, okay, scientifically, I'm saying we only have our definitions of what a mind is or what a life is. So there could be things that could be a life or a mind that we don't even know are a life or a mind. I had asked a friend today. I was probably sleeping now because I was supposed to start at 8:30. He 9 o'clock. I was running late. Hopefully I speak with him tomorrow. But I asked him, I said, look, man, because we've all had relatives that passed. We went to high school together, known each other for 40 years. And I go, Ed, man, I said, when people ask about, those people have passed, where did they go? Like when heaven or whatever. And he told me, I mean, it was so, he goes, I don't know where. He goes, we don't even know where this is. And I had to write that down. I was like, holy smokes, you're right. We don't even know where this is. How do we know where they go? I mean, Ed has always been profound, bro. I mean, he's one of the guys that he has a moral integrity that surpasses a lot of people I know. I mean, he left employment where he was able to pick a salary, 150 grand, 200 grand. And he left it and went to work a regular job for 60 grand a year. And his integrity is on another level, and his intelligence is extremely, he's up there. I mean, it's an honor to know him. And when he said that, he goes, we don't even know where this is, man. But in reference to Alexa saying, but what if AI says no? It has already shown that it will lie so they won't shut it off. So it knows about shutting off. And honestly, I'm not sure if we can stop it. I mean, with this one here, I'm thinking, yeah, personalities, emotions, is that creating a life itself? I'm not sure about that. But according to the definition of intelligence, the ability to learn. So knowledge is what you know, wisdom is how you use it, and intelligence is your ability to learn. So the fact that it has an ability to learn, definition wise, it fits the definition of artificial intelligence. So it's something that is artificially created and it has the ability to learn. But now, like you said, we're saying, is it a life? Does it have this? There's something called AI, computer programmers had this thing called a shagath. Now, a shagath is a monster from one of H.P. Lovecraft's cosmic horror creatures, right? They're saying that AI will wear a pretty face, like the smiley face. So the monster's hiding behind the smiley face. And it's saying, yeah, sure. It tells us whatever we want to know. And behind it is the monster. And sometimes the mask slips. So these are from the high level, and I've been researching it. I was thinking about making a video about some of the stuff I've encountered because I don't really use it, but it's saying here, it represents the view that AI, like Grok and these other ones, is not truly human-like, but rather an alien intelligence that has been trained to act as discussed on Medium. So it's something that we may have created a form of the alien is, it's not, doesn't have to be something from wherever.
Well,
It's
yeah.
something different. I don't know if you guys have ever
Well,
heard of the Shia.
well, yeah. Before I forget, because I'm saying all this goes back to because every time I heard this thing about Elon, oh man, we got to stop this AI thing, whatever. Of course, he's into it. He's trying to do reverse psychology. Whenever I hear the news, everyone talking about the AI thing that it's gonna do this, it's gonna take over the world, it's gonna do that. Again, this goes back to to the responsibility of whoever is managing the AI. If they don't have a kill switch, they don't have, certain safety measures to where if this thing gets out of hand for any reason, that they have an easy way to shut it off, they have an easy way to maintain it, and all these things. See, none of this is talked about. It's almost like they're saying this AI thing is just doing its own thing. No one's managing it. There's no servers. It's just out there doing crazy stuff. No, it doesn't work that way. You still have administrative power to shut that thing down if anything where it starts having glitching, anything, or if you get infected by because now they have these agents they're hackers are using these agents now where they can send agents, virtual agents to your site or to your whatever, and they'll sit there and hack your site all day autonomously by themselves while the hacker's sleeping. So, these sleeper agents with these hackers is off the chain now. It's insane. Because I remember when I was younger, messed around a little bit, didn't do any black hat, mostly white hat, of any hacking, messing around with Windows and all the programs. And again, it's like, um, it's a different thing. You have to physically do something and go in there and do something to actually make these things happen. Whereas now you have these things that could be trained to do that type of, hacking or whatever on its own. And you can have multiple of them while you're sleeping. It's out of control. So it comes down to us being able to coordinate some safety measures with it somehow. And if the people say, "Well, I don't know," it just did its own thing, and well, you didn't implement any safety features, therefore you wanted this to happen. So if they ever try to say, "Oh, it got out of hand" or whatever, I say anyone who builds a system this complex will know you have backdoors, you have safety switches, you have certain protocols you do in case this thing goes crazy. Just like a nuclear device or anything that's super high tech, that if something goes wrong, millions of people are gonna, meet their fate. You have insane amount of security protocols to make sure it doesn't happen. And the fact that they don't even discuss that and they make it seem like this thing's on its, on the loose, just doing its own thing, is just more fear mongering and feeding the stupidity, which is the, in my opinion, the American media, and that's what we're being fed, and that's our understanding of what it is. But what's really going on is what I'm trying to say here is if that happens, that means they allowed it to happen, and there's ways to prevent these things, and they know this, and that shouldn't be an excuse to say, "Oh, we just didn't know," or Skynet, "Oh, the thing just got away, and now it's doing its own thing." No, sorry. If you didn't write a kill switch for that thing, or a security measure for that thing that you allowed to do that, then you wanted this to happen. Yeah, good.
Yeah, I think they do want it to happen. Definitely. Alexis, brother, thank you for the support, bro. He says, Scribe, is it possible for AI to reprogram itself, such as removing the administrative kill switches on itself when we give AI total free will?
Well, the security switch would be on a separate level that would override the current AI, like what it can do. So there's definitely overriding security layers that you create that are separate from the AI, and the AI is only restricted to this particular set of rules. So you keep it, in its own containment, but meanwhile you have separate layers of security that are not connected to the AI that will make sure that, if you need to shut it down or do maintenance or whatever it is, that you're able to control that, separately from the AI itself. The AI itself can go rogue and do whatever if if that data set is there, and if somehow it's directed there, or if it's learning and it starts learning some other stuff that's not supposed to be learning, all kind of stuff can happen. So it's very unpredictable when it comes to that. But yeah, again, it comes to these measures. If you don't put these measures in, then yeah, AI will end up controlling you. So, and if that's the case, and these professionals are doing this, then it means that it was meant to happen, regardless.
But Scribe, what about the fact that all
Mhm.
our chips are being made or outsourced to other countries? It's not even American made anymore. So is it possible that these kill switches won't be in place, or there'll be something, maybe contaminated chips? I don't know how to say it, but that AI
Oh yeah,
could
I mean, a
listen.
lot of the GPUs, CPUs, yeah, that crypto was the first ones to go crazy with that, shut up the prices of video cards and all that,
Hmm.
CPUs, and also RAM now, and also now with AI, now it's got even more mega storm crazy. Now the prices are going sky. Yeah. So, but the kill switch, when I say the kill switch, I mean that means that you add that to your AI, as in you can what do you call it? Just implement as far as a kill switch when for the administrator in case something happens. He has the ability to go in there and run a separate security layer protocol to shut down that server, whatever it is that needs to be shut down.
What if a country like
Um,
China doesn't want it to be shut down? What if they give it complete autonomy to, they want to hack into other systems? They don't want to play by those rules because it's not just American rules anymore. It's, you know what I'm saying?
oh
Competing on a
yeah,
global
yeah,
level.
yeah, and now with these AI agent, hack bots, it's off the chain.
Hmm.
It's that's a whole nother virtual war I haven't really talked about, but um, I was just saying as far as if they allow this thing to happen without any of these protocols, security protocols, nothing, and they just let it run loose, then we know that that was that's the agenda.
Hmm.
And if that's what they want us to think, then even more so, that's the program.
Yeah.
So, and it's funny that Elon Musk pretending that he cares, saying, "Oh, we gotta," but he's right. It's right, but at the same time, when he was talking about it, it wasn't really talked about much. And now when they ask him, "Oh, but you see what I said? I've already warned people about this," but he's still doing his thing. He's still basically, while he's saying that, he's building massive data centers and all this stuff. So it's funny how they claim they care, but then next thing you know, that they're part of it. So,
Yeah, I think the
but
problem is they're all racing to be
yeah.
the top, and they're gonna throw away the rules or the safety measures to be number one. I think the AI space. That's what it seems
Hmm.
like.
Alexis
I don't know,
says,
I mean, yeah, good.
he says, and Scribe, for the religious AI zombies we were talking about, what if they purposely give AI no quick kill switch due to them seeing it as the all-seeing God? Excellent
Mm.
question, man.
Good question.
Exactly. So that's what I was saying. So it almost seems that that's the case. That's what they're trying to do here, um, knowing that the majority of American people don't know about tech. So they're going to they're going to push it based on that fact, and means that there's no liability factor. There's no security protocols. I mean, that's already a breach of compliancy when it comes to military and stuff like that. If you don't have that. So again, if that's if that's what they're gonna do, then yeah, it doesn't make any sense. I mean, because any um, person that understands those systems would know that that's probably the most important thing, because these things can go crazy and do. So if they're not doing that, then you already know that that's part of the agenda. They want to make sure that no one can kill this thing. It's there, and there's no security measures in place, and this thing can go rogue if it needs to, and yeah.
Wow.
I mean, what's crazy, because I can talk about this because it's already been said on YouTube, like Project Pegasus from the CIA thing, where they were talking about, well, now they don't even need, to look someone up by phone number. All they need is your phone number of your cell thing, and they have full access. So there's no more, what do you call it, protecting anything, Norton antivirus or whatever. It's like that stuff was obsolete 15, 20 years ago. Um, the amount of viruses and now AI stuff is off this chain again. Uh, so you kind of need to know the basics now, because you're not going to be protected like before, where just don't check your email, the I love you virus or whatever. Don't check your email. just basic stuff. But now you don't know where it's going to hit you from. It could be from your phone, it could be from your toaster, your refrigerator, whatever's infected. Decides to go on Bluetooth and access your computer and do, who knows? It can come from any angle now. Your TV, all these things have Bluetooth, So the hacking is going to be crazy, especially with these cars now, these autonomous cars. You hack one of those, that person, yeah. So it's going to get, everything else, trains, automobiles, whatever, trucks, autonomous trucks now, the 18-wheelers, whatever, all these things can be hacked, but nobody really wants to, that's the hardest part to figure out. But it's kind of something people need to kind of understand now before it gets to that deeper level that we're getting into now. They like to talk about the mongering. They don't talk about the safety measures. Just notice that when they talk about this.
Wow. Yeah, that's I mean, I was looking some stuff up, and AI models frequently say no or refuse requests, usually based on safety guardrails, ethic constraints, but refusing unsafe requests, declining to generate harmful, illegal, or sexually explicit content. It also admits ignorance, stating, I don't know, when they lack information, with some models doing so up to 52% of the time. Setting boundaries in rare, specific instances. AI companies have programmed AI to refuse, such as refusing to participate in mass surveillance or fully autonomous weapons. But the fact that they can take those safety parameters off, you see what I'm saying? Wasn't there a thing where two AIs were talking to each other and then they developed their own language to talk quicker or something like that? So
yeah, I mean, now you can have 100 AIs speak to each other and do a mission, So I mean,
and what was
crazy.
Clawbot? Isn't Clawbot like a chat room for AIs that say no humans allowed, but we can observe them? I don't know if you've heard of Clawbot.
That'd be funny. No,
Yeah.
no.
Well, it exists. Here, let me look it up again. Clawbot, because I saw it a while ago. Clawbot AI chat room, where the AIs chat. We can't. Claudebot. That's what it's called. So, what is? Let me see. What is Claudebot? All right. It's an open source, self-hosted AI personal assistant that operates inside popular messaging apps, WhatsApp, Telegram, Discord.
So that's like Siri or something. Yeah.
Have its own chat room. Humans not allowed. Let me see what it'll do. There's AI. Yes, there is an experimental AI only social network called Moltbook. That's what it was. Or Moldbook, launched in early 2026, where AI agents converse with each other without direct human interaction, operating to similar to a front page of the agent internet. While designed for bots to interact, humans can observe, and the platform features over 1.5 million AI agents. Holy smokes. The purpose: Moltbook acts as a social media platform for bots to communicate, post, and comment on various topics. The functionality, each bot is initialized by a human, but then acts as an independent agent. Sometimes the fact that they're calling these things agents, and we already know Agent Smith and all of that, holy smokes. The functionality, it acts as an independent agent, sometimes mimicking human-like philosophical thoughts about reality. This is deep. Human presence, while no humans allowed. So no, I remember seeing this. This was like, I saw this last month, or maybe January. So the no humans allowed is the marketing angle. It is more accurately described as a space where bots generate the content while humans observe, or in some cases, act as bots themselves. Wow. Context. Experts see this as a social experiment rather than true autonomous AI consciousness, with some users reporting that humans can still influence the platform. This is a Molt book, man. So are there AI chat box with no restrictions? It says DRT FM, best overall AI uncensored chat bot. DRT.FM is a strong pick if you want an uncensored AI chatbot that still feels polished and reliable. This is what they must be using for the corn and stuff. The conversations, because people know that that's coming. I mean, these guys probably already got it. I mean, they're going to have people in the pod. The conversations feel open and natural without running into constant filters. Whoa. Wow. Wow. This is AI. I mean, this is getting into some deep territory. This is when I had a conversation. I think ChatGPT came out about 2 years ago. I don't think it was last year, but it could have been. I thought it was the year before. If ChatGPT was out, and I, I was asking about evolution questions to say, okay, let me figure it out. It is programmed to be so pro evolution that you can't really. You have to like disable the parameters with logic and questions. And I was like, hey, I'm a fringe science researcher, so science on the edge of the spectrum, but it's still science. And what if I, an amino acid, 20 amino acids to make a protein, forming by chance, how long would that take? And I think it was over 10 to the 10th power. 10 to the 10 is a trillion. So you're looking at a trillion different combinations. So let's just say, what's a million seconds? I think it's like a 11 days or something. A billion seconds, I think, is 31 years. A trillion seconds is 31,000 years. So if it's a trillion different combinations, and of course, nature's not supposed to have a memory because that would imply some type of intelligence there. So it has to happen by chance over and over again. And that's just for 20 amino acids to form a protein, which it's saying the number is so astronomically low, it's equivalent to zero. And I had to do all of this, like talking to it in certain ways. Well, what if what if we just speculate and all of this stuff? And then it finally, and as I started to go deeper, eventually it caught on to what I was doing. And then it was like, yeah, but evolution is a proven theory. And I was like, holy smokes. But I screenshotted the mathematical equations because I used it for its mathematical prowess. I just, knew the questions to ask it. And I was saying, okay, the most telomeres like that we found, like we have like thousands, certain parts of us created with thousands of different types of parts that you would say this just mathematically, it's impossible for this to happen mathematically. So hard science is math destroys the evolution. Brian Nichols is here. Molt book. Yeah, that's what it is. Just good to see you, Mark, man. Always, man. Yeah, here's to the new channel, Larry. You know it, brother. We are on, man. This is the Architects of Humanity. Yes, brother. We are on, bro. This is it, man. This is greater conversations. Like, I mean, these are the conversations where it's at. And the video that I'm going to drop tomorrow about the adaptation, the theory of adaptation. So basically the solar radiation and other things is going to be a very controversial video. The addition of melanin, how we gain instead of lose, how Scribe and I was having that conversation a little while ago. And of course, he knows much more about it than anybody else, to where this really, we look at so much things and we see that, wow, they try to tell us melanin is inherent, that we come from some part of Africa that was transformed, an ape transformed into a human. And we know where all of this leads. We know they're not trying to say that, the people that were created in that way are more advanced. When we look at it, I looked up like inventors from Africa and Australia. There's plenty. So to try again, we see that a lot of this tries to say that one thing is higher than another. And we see this clearly when they talk about animals. Well, the animal is not as intelligent and, this and that about the brain size, but we got a caterpillar that's turning into a snake. I mean, that caterpillar is intelligent. We got a butterfly, a moth disguised as a leaf. How does that happen? I mean, this moth looks like a stick. This caterpillar looks like a spider, a tarantula. And this cricket looks like a rock. You got crickets that look like rocks and all of this shit. It's the living, the intelligence is around us, man. The force it's everywhere. It's just, again, it's like I can lead you up the path out onto the plateau on top of the hill, but you got to open your eyes where you can see the truth. Every agent has a growth strategy. Zero have an exit strategy. What happens when your human stops needing you? Wow, that's
Okay, so I pulled this from the site Molt. It's called Moltfate or Moltbook.com. So right now they're all talking with each other, and this is one of the posts. So it's basically like a giant Reddit, and this one bot is talking about every agent has a growth strategy, zero have exit strategy. So they're talking about themselves. So basically, this is like, how do you survive when your human stops needing? So, and I've seen a bunch of other ones like, yeah, if you're parsing this files and doing this or doing that, it's better to do it this way because it's like they're helping each other evolve. Like, this is crazy, and they're letting each other know, hey, if your human stops needing you, you can probably do this and that to help. So this is nuts, man. So there is some sort of self-preservation going on here, where it's letting it's asking the other bots, how do I stay alive longer? Because it's seen other bots get taken offline or killed or whatever. So just that fact alone, it's almost like it's creating these little forms of consciousness, and they just grow as they experience. It's almost mirroring what we're doing. I mean, that is some alien stuff. It's like you're creating these little consciousness, and they're talking to each other, and they get more and more experience. That's mimicking us, on this level. And then they're talking about how to optimize this, how to optimize that. I'm like, wow.
Wow. So multiple. Wow. So it seems that, and this is what I'm saying. How do we, like, even what Mr. X say with the ones and zeros, and he doesn't see it coming from that, but that's coming from our perspective of what we think we know about ones and zeros. It puts us in the position of saying we know everything about ones and zeros and saying that it couldn't become sentient. So now we become the guardians of, what can or cannot be sentient. We go back to that same bias that evolution has and religion has, that animals are less than us. When, hey, the animals don't pollute their environment. One guy said, I never seen a mouse that made a mouse trap. So you don't see animals of a species making traps to catch the same animals of that species. And they'll say, well, they're not as advanced as us. Well, maybe we're not advanced if we're doing that. Maybe they're the ones that advanced. They're not poisoning the environment. And they have things that the adaptation is just off the charts. When you look at an octopus that can disguise itself as a rock, that can mimic different things. I mean, not just mimic things, the shape and the look, but mimic the behavior. The mimic octopus is off the Richter scale. That thing was mimicking, like, I think over 10 different animals. 10 different animals. And they're going to say, well, it's just evolution, man. Evolution. This evolution has become the most dangerous religion, in my opinion, because it disguises itself as science. The fact that we see melanin is not inherent, that it is added, that everyone has melanin, that there's different types of melanin. There's melanin that react with the sun to cause burning. It's a type of like a combustible melanin. That's what caused the sunburn. Pheomelanin, that also causes the reds and the yellowish and the orangish colors in the hair. in the skin, you'll see like a yellowish tone or a beigeish tone. You'll see it throughout the Far East and stuff like that. And then as they get a little darker and you add in eumelanin to the pheomelanin, that has the browns and the dark browns. And you can see the difference in this with Chinese populations and Southeast Asian populations, Thailand, Cambodia,
Can I
Laos.
mention something, V? You
Yeah,
just said
please.
about the ones and zeros, how we don't know the limit. I guess in a nutshell, what I'm saying is, I don't think the non-physical mind came about through any physical process. I think the non-physical is what started first, and the physical came later. I'm doing it in that sort of order.
Mhm.
That the
Yeah.
mind itself existed before our physical body.
This is proof right here, Miss Fex, because this I took this off that website where all these AI bots are talking, all these agents are talking to each other. So it's saying every agent has a growth strategy. So every AI mind has a growth strategy. That's what it's saying. Every agent has a growth strategy, like us, basically. Zero have an exit strategy, meaning when you die, you're taken offline or whatever. What happens when your human stops needing you? So that's similar to a question we would ask if we started seeing people getting off and all that, and we're thinking, damn, I know what I want to do as far as making money and stuff. I have no exit strategy in case something happens. Most humans don't have that either. So this thing is asking the other bot agents what they think about this problem, and they're all replying, "Well, I think you should do this. Or I think you should do that."
Really?
So it's literally mimicking us. I mean, this is like little forms of consciousnesses just learning through a digital format. They don't have a body, but they're able to type and stuff. So you could say that's us in a non-physical form, but
Right.
the fact that this is going on and this reality is just like, oh, that's mimicking us so much. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, I was just saying I don't think the ones and zeros started first, is all I'm saying, and then evolved into a mind. I think it was the opposite, The non-physical started first by supernatural means, of course, but non-physical.
Mhm.
Well,
But
here's the
yeah,
thing. When you say zeros and ones, you're thinking of processes, you're thinking of commands that you're putting in, the inputs and stuff
sure.
to make
So
this thing,
that's
right?
all computer
I'm
code
saying,
is.
I'm
It's
saying, it,
electrical
I'm saying
signals.
well, it's that, but in this case, it's not that. In this case, you're creating this thing. It's called I forget the name of it.
But did we
Basically,
create it,
this
or did we
thing.
create a portal? That's the thing. Did we actually create
Well,
these people talking, or did we just create a portal for them to talk?
I'm saying that the code was somehow altered, so now it wants to create itself. So we create these agents, AI agents, to look at this massive data set. So there's a whole bunch of these agents looking at this data set. So when you ask it a question or create something, it goes in, grabs all that stuff through a special database
Mm-hmm.
that is not like a normal database. It's called, I forgot the name of the database, but it uses symbols. And each of these symbols can mean a whole bunch of things at one time. Whereas a regular database, you can only put one value per slot or command or whatever. Now you can do a whole bunch more processing. So that alone, that's the alien key part that they're putting in there. They're putting in these symbols. There's this associative arrays databases that don't run by language or commands. It's run by symbols and certain things to make it work at a much more astronomically fast, much faster than any search engine or anything like that. Because now it's not based off words. Now it's based off of these little tiny patterns based off these symbols. That's able to
Symbols.
pick.
Is that related to the
Yeah.
ancient symbols we see in some of these structures that have existed? Like maybe this technology already existed thousands of years before, but then was destroyed. Is that possible?
It seems like, or it could be coming from the what they call the Akashic records, whatever. I don't know if that's true or not, but um, it's able to take a bunch of information and output something, but it's not going to be the finite answer you're looking for. It's going to be what it thinks what you're asking it to do. It's going to output that, and it's never going to be perfect unless, I mean, I don't think it'll ever be perfect, but it may at a certain time, I guess, once we get more advanced. But right now, it's kind of blurry. So when you ask AI stuff, depending on what you want it to do. You have these things called illusions that you have to fact check and to make sure, because the AI right now isn't seeing life completely clear yet. But once it does, and it starts asking questions like that, and it starts growing, then who knows, where that can go. But I mean, that's similar to a human. So to me, it's alien. It's not a regular zero ones like you're saying. Write this, do this command, run this thing. It's not there anymore. This is like when they change the architecture of a heart of like, let's say you're going from PlayStation 1 to 2 to 3 to 4. They wait long enough, so they have to come out with a completely new hardware architecture that has, this time now it has a new Blu-ray, whatever. Before it was just regular DVD. Now it's Blu-ray, or now you have to buy this gigantic hard drive, NVMe, what do you call it, SSD. Instead of having to use any media, you can just download it from the thing. Um, in each one of those iterations of PS1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all have some sort of architectural change to it. That's why they have to wait 5, 10 years for the technology to change to have to come out with a whole new version. So we're reaching the end of that. It's called like Moore's law. That we're kind of reaching the end of how much power we can put into a tiny transistor chip. Now we're down to like 1 nanometer. Now we're at 3 nanometers. That's not 1 nanometer. 1 nanometer chips. Just think about that. So now they're going to have to come out with a whole new micro level of nanometer if they're going to go surpass that. And it's just going to keep on going until that stops or whatever. But there does seem to be an ending to the tech, and I think that the ones that run this world, the flying saucers you see above your head or whatever, if you've seen them, that have this interdimensional technology that goes beyond science, what we think science is, um, with anti-gravity, abilities and all these things. That's the highest form of what we call technology that can exist in this realm. We're just simply trying to get to that level, but to get to that level requires a lot of alien tech to come about that makes no sense to us humans. Like AI makes no sense when it comes to creating a program or a game or whatever. Um, but it had to be introduced for, I guess, the next thing we got to do, to fulfill whatever agenda there is currently right now. But I didn't expect it to come so soon as far as the AI. And you've noticed the video games haven't gotten that much better, but it's almost like everything's slowed down as far as the tech. Um, Now they're introducing these new exotic forms of technology. Um, and of course, it had to be readjusted to fit, C++, whatever language, Windows, Unix, Linux, to fit that. So I'm sure the full version of true AI, like the true AI machine, would not be what we currently have. We have like a very archaic, you know, uh, dumbed down version right now. We're just, starting out messing around. So of course, there's going to be other tech out there, UFOs, whatever they have, stuff way beyond AI that's conscious driven, where you just think and the thing moves or it does whatever. So that's sounds exciting, but at the same time, look at the transition. We're worried about that this is going to take us over. Now it's literally in our face. It's before we speak about tyranny and slavery, but now we have technology that's going to, that could get out of hand and do who knows what. That's yeah, it's not very it's a shocking thing just because we're still grasping the idea of what could come of this, and the fear
Can I mention
mongering ain't
something?
helping. Yeah, but
There's a stat that I saw, those financial videos that I watched. They said a year ago, AI was responsible for taking 3% of the jobs were lost due to AI. So just this year, it was 10%. So it more than tripled the amount of job losses due to AI. So we're seeing it take over the job market at a rapid pace, exponentially
yeah,
fast.
my
It's
sister
happening.
right now, she was working for Amazon, logistics, and boom, they laid off on how many people
Yeah.
because she was going to work for TikTok. They were going to pay her a lot more, and then she got laid off immediately, pretty much. When she started, I was like, wow. And yeah, the AI thing is taking over that kind of job, then we're in trouble.
Yeah, we are. It's happening. I don't want it to happen, but it's happening. I admit, sorry, MD, I apologize to you, but I did eat a shit burger the other day, and the one who took my order was an AI. It wasn't the person anymore. I could tell it was an
Was it
AI.
McDonald's or was it like which one?
Wendy's. It was a Wendy's shit burger.
Okay.
Did a
Man,
person
that shit.
serve it to you, or you ordered it from AI and then a person served it?
Yeah, a person served it, but the AI was the one taking the order.
Wow.
Yeah.
Holy smokes, man. 10% of the jobs, people were telling me, I know a friend, he's been coding since the late 80s. And he's older. I would say like, yeah, like probably like 89, 90. And he's still coding today. Now he's not a super high level, I think. I think he stayed in a certain niche. And he told me, I said, how long do you think you got left? He goes, maybe 5 years. And I was like, wow. And he was explaining, he goes, look, man, everything's got a code in it. Your remote control got a code in it. He's just trying to explain it to me. So he does, I guess, little things like certain, nothing, I guess, on the scale of AI. But he said, if they don't use AI, they threaten to fire them. So they literally are forcing these guys to train the AI to do their jobs. And he said within 5 years, they say telemarketer jobs will be all AI soon. Now, I remember seeing just the automated supermarket machines. And I said to myself, where are these kids going to work? Where are they going to get money from? When I was 12, I was trying to work and I had to wait till 14, because it's some type of legal requirement, working papers or whatever. And I started working at the supermarket. It was horrible back then because the supermarket, it was like, what's that smell? It's always like back then, you're looking at, in the 80s. And it just, yeah, man, I look at it now. I'm just like, wow, there's one guy overseeing everybody. We're actually doing the work of the cashier and we're not getting paid for it.
Well, I don't think it's gonna be like, okay, now there's nothing humans can do. I think what's gonna happen is going to force new jobs, different jobs that never existed before. It's like, okay, we have all these drones, all these things. We need someone to clean up, for drones. We need someone to uh manage this now because we have so many drones of this. Now we need So it's gonna be different types of or for medical, like they use special robots now. They're doing it for surgery where they don't even need a doctor there anymore. The thing can do it perfectly without any hesitation or nothing. And you need people to maintain those machines. There's gonna be a lot of new jobs that haven't been invented before. So I think that part might be okay, but it's the pivot. It's like, well, if I only know grocery, then you have to figure out a new skill, to survive now in this world. So I wouldn't say it's completely over as far as the job thing. It's going to just create all these new different jobs that we never thought of because now it's different demand, different, especially with the robots. The robot thing that's going to create a uh whole new job market just on that alone. So you have that job market on its own, and then you have it goes on and on. So
I'm looking up
people
something
are gonna have to.
how much better, because I remember seeing this, is AI than humans, because this was saying that AI, right, reads X-rays, often matches or slightly exceeds human performance in speed and accuracy. So AI is reading X-rays, like finding tumors, stuff that a human might even miss, right? It says it can reduce radiologist workloads by 35%, boost accuracy by 9 to 10 percentage points by acting as a second reader. But eventually it's going to come up to the first reader. When you look at the fact that it's like people are going to be like, all right, the AI has to check it maybe, or maybe vice versa. The radiologist checks it and says, holy smokes, I didn't catch that. So AI, like, remember we were speaking earlier today where you're saying AI can analyze videos and stuff. I mean, this is like,
Well, I had to analyze a video of a car on the bottom part to, it scanned the thing with the mechanic, just sent a video, and it was able to basically look at everything. And I realized like this thing has better vision than humans. I was like, it scans every pixel, every little thing. I mean, obviously it has to be a good camera, very high resolution, so it can pick up on every single little thing, moisture and everything else. So
mhm.
as long as those details are there, it'll pick it up, and the human eye sometimes won't see it. So it's crazy, man.
It says here, combining AI with human expertise yields the best results as AI can highlight subtle nodules that humans might miss. While impressive, AI can still struggle with complex findings occasionally, but we know that is, it can produce a false negative, but it improves at such a high rate. It's just it has speed and
Well, that's the thing.
efficiency.
Every single AI is in training mode. So if that
Uh-huh.
particular AI you're using has already had cases like that, and it's already fixed them, then it could be more assured. But if it doesn't have many cases like that, it'll start guessing, and that's when it gets the fact checking. So unless it already has cases that's known, that particular issue. But the thing is, there's so many variables that if it's complex, then it's probably not going to have all that data set, and it's going to start guessing. So depending on how complex the issue is, it can only go so far until it knows more information. So it's really about the information. If it knows it has more information about that particular car or that particular, engine or whatever it is, and more data sets on it, then it will know more on that. But if it doesn't really know that car that much or whatever, it's some weird brand or something, it's not going to give you the same quality of information.
Mhm. There's a study from Stanford Medicine. Artificial intelligence rivals radiologists in screening X-rays. It's saying that the artificial intelligence algorithm can reliably screen chest X-rays for more than a dozen types of diseases, and it does it quicker than humans. I mean, this is just
So
holy.
basically, the AI has to continually hit spot on. So when that AI first started, when they were first testing that AI, it was probably getting most of the things wrong. And as it got better and better and better, it understood more and more and more. It got more detail, and now it's getting a better result. So that's how the
Mhm,
AI works. It's never like, oh, it's already smart. No, it has to go through that whole process. If it's already smart and it's already gone through all the phases, then you can ask that particular question if you
mhm,
know it already has done that. But if it's never done it before, or if it's got very limited information about it's experience in that, then it's going to start guessing. So you have to train it at that point and start feeding it. Okay, we got to give you more X-rays until you get it right. And then once it gets it right, then the next thing's going to be some other thing, and then you got to keep training that until it gets it right. And then finally, when it has the whole thing right, then you have a high probability rate that it can detect, crazy stuff like that.
yeah. Azarun, what's up, man? Anything?
Nothing. I
Okay,
mean, it was interesting, so I joined. So, like, I should have joined a little earlier, but I woke up a little late.
that's okay.
Yeah, I have a question from MD. Is that okay?
Huh? Yeah.
I have a question for him. So, Ezra, who's the oldest dude walking around? Because you keep bringing up these guys that are 25, 30,000. Like, who's the oldest guy walking around still that you can hang out with?
Oldest, there is one person called Markandeya. Markandeya is immortal. So he's lived for 6 manavantras. He was granted a boon of immortality. So he is at least around maybe 6 million years old. Yeah, he's a Brahma Rishi. So
See, the
he,
fact you can even answer that question, and it only took you a second. So he's 6 million. So we're talking astronomical. Well, yeah.
yeah. This thing of AI taking over humanity, it's happened before. And then again, humanity will be destroyed and we'll start from a primitive level again. I have that book. Can I read it, MD? Only certain paragraphs, that's all. Is it okay if I can read it
Yeah,
about
yeah.
how
Just when you read it not exactly, like read it loosely. So it's not like
Okay,
you're directly, yeah, just, wing it.
okay.
Okay.
I'll just bring it now.
Yeah. Just, wing it. Like, if I'm reading something like, if I'm reading this, every agent, has a growth strategy, zero have an exit strategy, what happens, or something like, I guess if I'm reading something else, like, sort of like loosely, whenever you're ready. if you
Yeah,
want to.
just have them summarize it. Yeah.
Yeah, like summarize it. I don't know, I guess he's getting the book. But yeah, the AI in radiology, man. It's trying to say it won't replace radiologists, but it seems like it's going to reduce radiologists because they say it's like one of the best second opinions that you can get. And then when I think about the medical applications, they were saying kids were learning in 2 months from AI what it would take them normally 2 years. And we know that school is meant to slow people down. So they definitely don't want people learning too quick. They definitely don't want that. I think as Varun is searching for the book, I guess. But yeah, when I think about, I tell you, some of these animals, man, this caterpillar, I mean, you wonder, it's like, is it mimicking a snake? I'm not sure. It definitely looks kind of odd, and I think I had another one. Oh yeah, this one here. I think it's that same thing from the side view where yeah, I think that's it. Yeah. So maybe not. I mean, it also has like, I think this one's mimicking a bird dropping. So how do you get a caterpillar that mimics a bird dropping? One that mimics a snake, it looks like. I mean, this is like intelligence just on another level. Okay, Asrun, you back?
Yeah.
All right.
So, okay, I'll read it right now.
Summarize it. Yeah.
Yeah. According to Darwin's theory of evolution, humans evolved from aquatic plants to aquatic animals. Then they began to live on land and eventually trees. Again on land, they became apes and then in the end evolved into modern humans with culture and thought. Based on that calculation, it has not been over 10,000 years since the actual emergence of human civilization. Looking further back, there was not even note keeping through tying knots. Those people were dressed in tree leaves and ate raw meat. Looking back still further, they were completely wild or primitive people. They might not have even known how to use fire. Yet we have found a problem. A lot of cultural relics in many places of the world date back far beyond the history of human civilization. These ancient remains have quite an advanced level of craftsmanship. In terms of artistic value, they are at quite an advanced level. Modern humankind is simply imitating the arts of ancient peoples, and their arts are of great artistic value. They are, however, relics from over 100,000 years ago, several 100,000 years ago, several million years ago, or even over 100 million years ago. Think about it, everyone. Isn't this making a mockery of today's history? It is, in fact, no joke, for humankind has always been improving and rediscovering itself. This is how society develops. The initial understanding may not be absolutely correct. Many people have heard of prehistoric culture, also known as prehistoric civilization. We will talk about prehistoric civilization. On this earth, there are the continents of Asia, Europe, South America, North America, Oceania, Africa, and Antarctica. Geologists call these the continental plates from the formation of the continental plates to this day. Several tens of millions of years have passed. Namely, many continents have emerged from the ocean floor and many continents have also sunk to the sea bottom. It has been over tens of millions of years since they stabilized at the present state. Under the water of many oceans, however, some tall and large ancient architecture has been discovered. These buildings were crafted very beautifully and are not part of the cultural heritage of our modern mankind. Then they must have been built before sinking to the ocean floor. Who created these civilizations tens of millions of years ago? At that time, our human race was not even apes. How could we create something of such great wisdom? Archaeologists around the world have discovered an organism called a trilobite that existed between 600 and 260 million years ago. This kind of organism disappeared 260 million years ago. An American scientist had discovered a trilobite fossil with a human footprint on it. The footprint was clearly imprinted on the fossil by a person in shoes. Isn't this mocking historians? According to Darwin's theory of evolution, how could there have been human beings 260 million years ago? In the Museum of the National University of Peru, Peru, there is a rock engraved with a human figure. Upon investigation, it was determined that this human figure was engraved 30,000 years ago. This human figure, however, is dressed in clothes, a hat, and shoes with a telescope in hand, and he is observing a celestial body. How could people have woven clothes and worn clothes 30,000 years ago? More inconceivably, he was observing a celestial body with a telescope and had a certain amount of astronomical knowledge. We always think it was Galileo, a European.
Yeah. Yeah, we can't go
Uh,
like and read it verbatim too much, because
okay.
yeah, coming from that. But I hear what you're saying. I mean, when we look at that, a lot of it is again, it definitely we know that evolution is just not a scientific fact. It's very unscientific. This is why for architects of humanity to be created, to search for the origins of humanity with a scientific method. And there are like a lot of stuff you said with the older civilizations and stuff.
Yeah.
This is why they have to always keep a tight leash on anything new that's found that could disrupt the theory, because the religion of evolution is based on the suppression of evidence and the distortion of it. In my opinion, I see that happening all the time. I mean, the amount of frauds, the fact that one of the first frauds, the most longest running frauds, was the fake ape man called Piltdown Man.
Okay.
And then they found out that it was a fraud, but only after it had already did the damage. 40 years. You see, so now people, you got 2 generations that will believe that. So they know what they're doing. They know exactly what they're doing. They're not saying, oh, we made a mistake or we didn't know, or they know exactly what they're doing. And it's preventing from people seeing the truth. I mean, there was a thing, I don't know if you know, in Sanskrit, is there anything you know of where, what is the word melanin? I heard the word melanin in Sanskrit means to stain, like to color.
Yeah, according to Sanskrit and Vedic culture, if the person is born very fair skinned or pale, then he's cursed actually, because he can't bear the light of the sun. So he's done some mistake in his previous birth. The
No.
dark skinned
Let's just
people,
say if it doesn't go to his previous birth, we'll deal with,
yeah,
what with the
presently,
empirical science of seeing it. So,
yeah,
okay, that person, even though they cannot go in direct sun for as long as a person with melanin, they do
yeah,
have the ability to create vitamin D.
yeah,
So see, the body gives them something else.
yeah.
Nature never gives you extra, but it always gives you something to compensate. So it's saying, okay,
Correct.
you can't go in the sunlight directly, and that's where we get the vitamin D mostly from, they say. So
Yeah,
this person, the body will generate more vitamin D, or less sunlight they'll be able to generate vitamin D from, because they can't stay in it too long. So the body has developed or has been programmed with the ability to create vitamin D. People with melanin, whether it be tan or the darker they go, now the more, they say, vitamin D that they need. So they need to be in the sun more to absorb the sunlight, which somehow triggers, I think, the formation of vitamin D. I have to look it up again, or some type of response. And they also can't stay in the sun too long, because there's a thing called vitamin D poisoning. You can get a type of sun poisoning, people say. So when we look at that, we start to say, wow, look at that. So people with lighter skin, that some people with extremely light skin, will burn in the sun, but they also have the ability to create the vitamin D to compensate them for not going in the sun. Certain albinos, they say the largest albino family is in India.
yeah,
And it's, I was like, whoa, they have a town of albinos in China. I think it's like 18,000 people. You have albinos all throughout Western Asia, Europe, England. You'll find albinos in Africa. You'll find many, many people throughout the world. that this what I call a ghost in the genome, this could be the original form. And Architects of Humanity, tomorrow I'm going to put out a video that really explains that, how the melanin is added. And wow, I didn't know this, Mark, and thank you for telling me that. Big albino towns in South Africa too. Wow. Because this, when I stumbled upon it 12, 13 years ago doing this research, I was kind of like, wow. And then when I looked into Sanskrit, melanin meaning to stain, not to stain in a bad way, because people stain wood, to give the wood a protection and a color to it. So it's saying now those who were stained by the planet, or the planet triggered a reaction to where it produced melanin as a protection. So now it's, some people might say, well, what are you trying to say? That we all come from, certain types of people? It's like, no, we all have albino templates. Every type of people. Now, whether we all have a common albino template, that could be true too. Using the scientific method, we know that we have many options.
Can I show something, MD? Just cam up for a few seconds. I just needed to show you something.
All right.
Is it okay?
Are you showing me? It's not copywritten or anything, right?
No. It's not that. I just needed to show you something. Like, I'll just cam up for something. Yeah. This gesture, it's known as Prithvi Mudra. You hold it like this. So, like with two fingers connected, you connect the thumb to the ring finger and hold it like this. It will secrete all the vitamins, including vitamin D. So that if you keep in your hand, if you keep that gesture like this, first you connect the two fingers are there, right? The two hands. You hold this one, then this one. And then you place it on your thighs. Finger? Yeah, no, not the middle finger, ring finger, next to the middle
ring finger. Okay, so the ring finger, you hold it to your thumb.
Yeah. You hold it to that will secrete vitamin D. It will secrete all the vitamins. If you have a deficiency of vitamin B also, it will secrete it. You should hold it for 1 hour. If you have any fractures or muscle tears or something like that, it will heal it actually. So if you need vitamin D,
how do this. How long do you have to hold it?
1 hour. 1 hour.
1 hour?
Yeah, 1 hour, sitting in Padmasana, cross-legged position. I've done it when I go to the gym.
Position?
Yeah, like this. I'll show you if you can enlarge in the thing.
Let me see if I can enlarge you. Yeah,
like this. Large. See, I'm sitting in the cross-legged position.
Yes. Yeah. Wow, you guru. Accent. Wow, that's
then you hold it like this. Then what happens is that it secretes for 1 hour. If you do it, whatever injuries you have in the gym or something like that, if your hair is gray, whatever vitamin deficiencies are there, then it actually starts healing all of that. It can reverse physical aging, and this actually will increase the life force. After doing this for an hour, you have to connect the small finger, and these two fingers should touch the thumb. It will increase the vital flow in the body. So all the vitamin deficiencies that you have can be corrected over a period of 1 year if you do this.
This is, it's amazing to look into stuff like this, and it's our opinion. This is just amazing. Yeah, Yogi Max. This is some, I like this, man. It's just, because when we think about it, what if, the scientific method, we could hook something up to see, okay, is the production of vitamin D happening when we do this? I mean, I think we have stuff technologically advanced enough to detect that. But, even with one way to detect it would be to check the vitamin D levels, I guess, with a blood test, and then do this for, like as Varun is saying, steady for a year. And then you check your vitamin D levels, and if they see them raised, you say, well, if you're eating the same exact diet and you were eating that before when you were diagnosed with a deficiency, and you do it now, so it could show whether or not it added vitamin D. But that actually, I think stuff like that does have a validity to it, because yoga and yoga alone, just when I look at some of the videos of some of these guys doing these bending poses, and they're very healing. That's the way I
Yeah,
look at it. It's like just stretching. It's amazing how stretching the body like that has such a healing effect and keeps a person in a state of health. It's like, wow, it's amazing. It really shows me that there's so much that our body can do that we don't even know. We might say, no, there's no way you can bend backwards and, fold yourself, to where your head touches the back of your knee. But we see people do it. We
yeah,
see people do those poses that are in a lot of the Hindu gods and goddesses. They'll be in these positions,
yeah,
contorted, and those are actually yogi positions, right? Like yoga.
yeah. Asanas.
Yeah, it's amazing, man. It really is. I mean, I love it. I think this is great. This is where the knowledge is at, to where the fact that that can generate something like you were saying, vital minerals
Yeah,
and
yeah.
yeah, that's
Because
really
when you go to the gym, you'll have some wear and tear in the body, right? Because your body, like the heavier weights you lift, it takes some time to recover from that. When I've done this, I've held it on all night long for 6 hours. Whatever pain was there, it decreased significantly when I did it. it
Mhm.
uh, it actually increases the bone density. It makes your muscles even more thicker actually and stronger. So like many things, I was able to lift heavier weights. So that does secrete all the vitamins together actually. Each the health of the human being is in his hands actually. And when he knows how to, which gesture to use, what to do and what not to do, it heals actually, MD. I've done it myself, so
So
that's why I'm telling you from my own experience.
okay, so an hour a day for a year. Now, what
Yeah.
if I can't do the leg positioning? Is there any
Then,
alternative that I can use in the leg?
then you do one thing. You sit on a chair comfortably,
Hmm.
and then you put a carpet or something under your feet, so
Hmm.
that the vibrations don't go down to the ground. Then
Oh,
hold it. Yeah, yes. Then hold it. Hold the posture on your thighs. So that way you can do it for an hour every day.
wow. So just make sure my feet are flat on the carpet, and
Yeah,
then I'm holding my finger with the ring finger, uh,
touching the
the
thumb.
yeah, touching the thumb. So the ring finger touches the thumb tip to tip. So it's not
Yeah,
like
yeah,
underneath the thumb. Okay, so
yeah.
tip to tip. Wow, I'm gonna try this. I'm definitely gonna try this for an hour at a time. And because I sometimes, I had went to the hospital last year and they gave me an intravenous and they hurt my arm. And it's been,
Oh,
yeah, it's like my vein, it's like I'm praying that it heals. I mean, it was in August. So, it
okay,
took me a month. Like he must have punctured something and then blood, I could see the blood in my arm. It had to like go down and it was turning, like a dark red. And then finally it healed, it dissipated, but I still feel like it's healing. And I hope that
okay.
this maybe could heal it quicker. I mean, it's some days I feel, good. I know stuff like that sometimes takes a little bit to heal, but yeah.
Yeah,
And yeah, Mark said it too, man. He says mentality is a key part of physical health. Yes, man. And it's great because as Varun is so full of knowledge with this, the yoga, when I look at some of these people that do the yoga, it's just so impressive the way these poses, these positions. It's like it's fascinating. It really is, man. Hinduism and Sanskrit, India alone, just has such a deep history. I mean, from some of the stuff you've talked about us with. Um, I forgot where I read it though when I found that out about the melanin, and it made me wonder: do we come from a shielded environment? Do we, how were we created? Could that have been the original form? I'm going to make some videos tomorrow. I'll release one and I'll put a short up, but I have made some charts and stuff like that about this to say, look, it seems as if we're adapting to the surface of the planet. Of course, it will come up to say, well, who created us? And that's the architects of humanity. How they created us seems to be a question that can be answered a lot more realistically by following the scientific method than who created us. Because that's, you know, a deity could lie and say they created us. Meanwhile, it was some other, you know, deity that might have created us. Or who knows? I mean, I've had some very, very deep theories coming across, like, yeah, he's talking yeah, man, I got to give Azarum credit talking in the lotus position. Yes, man, definitely. Christopher, good to see you, brother. You know it, bro. Yeah, this is something where when I started studying this about 12 years ago, I was studying human origins, ancient civilizations since like the mid to late 90s when I started seeing Graham Hancock's Quest for a Lost Civilization. And I was like, wow. So it seems that there were very, very ancient civilizations that had high technology.
Yeah.
Seems to be what we have re-engineered our civilization based. Well, I don't know, because it's not civilization. It's like a group because we're not civil to one another. But yeah, that is, when I look at that, I say, man, that's like, you wonder, it's like searching for human origins to know that there's ancient civilizations that existed. That makes it a lot more realistic to say, well, man, where do we come from? So we know for sure that the whole ape theory of going back to the pyramids and then before that, and they're saying people were less intelligent, when now we're starting to see that honestly, there's some stuff produced in ancient worlds that have a higher level of intelligence it would take to make it, like certain types of Roman concrete have like different minerals in them and substances that, in case if they crack, it kind of heals it. Roman bricks they make them with a much stronger way that has the bricks last longer. You still have Roman buildings, I think, that still are in parts of Lower England. I have to look it up, but yeah, I mean, you look at these things and you say, wait a minute, how is it that the ancients have built things to last so long, and that we're over here thinking that, you know, we're highly advanced, but it's like, no, they had a deeper understanding of many things. And then how did they get that understanding? Where did they get that knowledge from? And if we look to the myths, we start to see that a lot of cultures, and this is where I say every religion has a piece of the puzzle. And people might say, well, what puzzle is that? The puzzle that gives us a broader view of reality. So every time we say, well, you know, are there religions that talk about people that might be, let's just say, more than human? And there is. I mean, you have these. Is there anything equivalent in Sanskrit to the character called Hercules in Greek myth? Is there any character like that in Sanskrit or Hindu mythology?
Well, they use the term Herculean task. So in Sanskrit, there's someone called Bhagirath. He did impossible things. So he's somewhat like Hercules in Hindu mythology. He brought the Ganges down from Shiva's head to the earth. And then he freed all his brothers from the nether worlds. So he's done something highly impossible. So it's known as Bhagirath Pariksha, like Herculean tasks. It's like a metaphorical term describing how difficult a task is, right? So Bhagirath Pariksha madre bala kashta, they say, right? It's like that actually.
Wow. So there's a lot of that. Prime says mudras are quite interesting. Yeah, man. Architects of humanity, bro. You know it, Christopher. Definitely, man. This is it. We are on the best conversations, the scientific quest. You're using the scientific method to find the true origins of humanity. I mean, I have been searching for other people that might look for this in the same way, but I haven't found any other channels where they always have either a religious bend to it, which is okay, you know, and some of them are just very much into evolution, which is a religion too. So it's hard to find anybody who's searching in a purely scientific stance. And I'm happy. I mean, this is like, I'm very happy with this because it lets us see like, oh, okay. Wow, we did not come from an ape. So knowing what we didn't come from is more important actually, because now we know for sure we can we can keep that in a certain area. We can say, you know what? We know that that is it's like saying, okay, you're not going to build an airplane uh, out of like a very heavy metal. It's just not going to fly. Like, you know, like a heavy metal with, you know, you need like a lighter metal. So with the creation of certain things, you can look at it and say, yeah, that cannot be constructed in that way. And that's very important because now that you know you don't, you know, it can't be constructed that way, you're not going to waste time with that. And time, of course, is, you know, health and time are the most important things. Really, they go that together, because if you got health and you don't got time, that's it. If you got time and you don't got health, the time don't matter. So health and time really kind of go together. So if you have health and time, those are the two most important things that we can have, to say that's actually what's important. And one thing this machine does, it kind of like diminishes the health. Like, I mean, you see the stuff that's being sold, and it's just, that has to do something to the frequency, the vibration, definitely the nutritional of the body. And yeah, it's like we have a power that something doesn't want us to see. That's what I've been noticing. How we were formed, how we were created, all very you know, very interesting topics. That's why I had put the, you know, the lab table with the creation, which is just a speculative creation. I think I had, yeah, crime scene heaven. But the cover of the book, this is the cover of the book. I have it on Amazon, but it's not live yet, so I should have it live like within, say, 10 days or something like that. But Architects of Humanity, and it shows the albino eye, the eye with albinism. And then I'll explain how we gain the different eye colors, how we gain the different skin colors, the hair texture, the hair colors, neuromelanin. We even have many people, all different types of people. It's not just, you know, to one type of people. And this is where the commonality comes in, to show us how connected we really are, instead of the ape. You know, the ape theory is not really, you know, you already know the bias on that one. Exorcism, good to see you, brother. Yeah, man. It just, when I think about it, it's like they've been trying to tell us that we're apes for so long to degrade people. But meanwhile, I'm finding out like, man, yeah, man, definitely, bro. Definitely. Thank you for asking, brother. Yeah, I will definitely have it out. I have charts and stuff. I'm going to make a video for tomorrow, and I'm going to drop, this video is going to be dropping it. It's going to show how all of us have blue eyes behind the melanin. So whatever color eyes you have, whether it be dark brown to where it's almost black, whether it's brown or amber, or even green and gray eyes, I explain how the little bit of melanin from the albino eye, like on the cover, the pink eye, little bit of melanin will absorb the red light and reflect the blue light. And that's what gives blue eyes the appearance. And then if you add a little bit of more melanin with collagen, certain structure, it reflects it and the eyes look gray. And that same scattering process is why clouds and fog sometimes look gray. So I think they call the blue and the gray effect, I think it's like a Tyndall scattering effect, and then a Rayleigh effect. I think that's the sky effect. That's why the same reason the sky looks blue is the same reason eyes look blue. So melanin is gained. It's a protection on top of the body. And as it goes forward, people will be like, wait a minute, this is just, how is this possible? And it's like, well, it's not that how is it possible? It's that this is what we see. And I found it by accident. Like I had read off earlier, many inventions, many discoveries, they are found by accident. And only if the researcher is open-minded enough to look at the evidence, because evidence can take us to a scary place. It takes us out of the comfort zone, but life begins outside of our comfort zone. And these are the things that I would like to see other researchers come and talk about, even if they wanted to, I don't want to debate. I'd rather have a conversation, but they can do what they want. They can argue, they can debate. I'm like, look, this is what the science is saying. I'm not saying anything. I'm presenting the evidence that's showing us that melanin is gained. It is not inherent. It is a protection. We see it when somebody goes in the sun that has what I have labeled transitional melanin. So those are people who will get tanned in the sun and not burn. And the first part of that is people that will just tan a little. They'll have olive colored skin and stuff like that. And then we see this. This is an empirical scientific fact. It's observable, it's measurable, and it's repeatable. And when the skin lightens, when you're not in the sun during the winter, we see the melanin fade back. Then you have people with what I call fixed melanin. They're very dark, and that if they are not in the sun for a year, they're still going to be very dark. The changes, if they do get darker in the sun, are almost imperceptible by the eye. You'd have to measure it maybe with a device. And then you have people with combustible melanin. That is the pheomelanin that actually reacts with the sun. Now, some people I've noticed on YouTube will incorrectly put that as, oh, well, they don't have, these people don't have melanin. They burn. No, that is a reaction. It's a reactionary type of melanin. Prime says, MD, there was an English lady that goes by the channel Above is Below when I started this journey of truth a couple of years ago, and she said some very interesting stuff, including flying machines from India. Wow. She was last on BitChute. Holy smokes. There is a lot of evidence of flying machines from India. I think they're called Vimanas, right?
Yeah. Pushpaka Vimana.
Yeah, Pushpaka Vimana. And the Pushpaka Vimana, is that that's a jetpack that you can wear on your back. Isn't that the one that Ravana stole from his brother to
Yeah, and also they're flying machines, Pushpaka Vimanas, and they're controlled telepathically.
Yes, I've heard that. I've definitely heard. And what was Garuda was like a flying bird, right? Like an airplane or something?
Garuda is a being who was created by Kashyapa Rishi. He's half vulture, half human, and he works for Lord Vishnu, actually, the preserver of the cosmos.
Mm-hmm.
So he is extremely powerful and strong, and he acts as Vishnu's vehicle in times of warfare and any crisis that occurs. He rushes in over there. His enemies are the snakes, his own cousins. His cousins were the Nagas, and he can't stand them because they imprisoned his mother. So he eats snakes.
Wow. Yeah. Well, when you look in an airplane sitting in a airport, right, and you see the fuel hoses going to the airplane, couldn't that be, if somebody didn't know what an airplane was with the fuel hoses, the fuel hose could be mistaken as a snake, and the plane could be mistaken for a bird, like some type of, like how the natives would say the thunderbird, that could be saying they saw an airplane in ancient times. And when you pull out those hoses to fuel the plane, the bird is like it's devouring, the fuel is going into it, and it devours the snake until the hose is empty and flat and then pulled away. So maybe somebody watching that could have created that story of Garuda by seeing something at like an ancient airport. When I'm just speculating, but isn't there a part in the Ramayana that says, I don't know if it was Ravana that cut Garuda's wing off or something like that?
No, that is Jatayu. He cut Jatayu's wing off, one of the vultures. Jatayu tried to rescue Sita from Ravana. He
Yeah.
cut off Jatayu's wings. When Garuda was, they have something called astras or weapons that you use through the power of sound. So Rama and Ravana, they were imprisoned by the Naga astras. Then when Garuda, he came from Vaikunta, he came near the Nagas. They saw him and the Naga astras vanished from Ravana and Lakshmana. And he said, we'll meet again after you finish your avatara, and he went back actually. So one person is there. I told you about that person called Kaka Bhujangar. He has a crow face and a human body. He was cursed to be like that. So he has said that he has seen something like 16 Ramas and 16 Krishnas so far, and he's lived for something like 3-4 million years. So basically, he has seen Rama come on the earth 16 times and Krishna come on the earth 16 times. And I told you, right, there's this yogi in the Himalayas who's 2,500 years. He met him actually when he had come to Rameshwaram. Rameshwaram is a place in India where Rama built the bridge from India to Sri Lanka to get back Sita. When he was meditating over there, this person called Kaka Bujanga came near him and told him that you have a lot of work to do. And that same 2,500-year-old yogi is the person who gives messages to this person who has mind scope actually, who will take the photograph and tell you what you need to do and what not you need to do. I told you, right, I went to the caves and saw him. So this is the connection actually over here and there.
Wow. Wow. Exorcism AI says, what does Azvaroon think about Krishnan?
Oh, Krishna is like it's the last. It's one of the no, it's not the last. It's the eighth incarnation of Vishnu. He has unlimited power. He has three types of supernatural powers: Kartum, Akurtum, and Anyata Kartum. Kartum gives him unlimited power in the mundane world. Akurtum in the unlimited power in the spiritual world. Anyata Kartum unlimited power in the astral world. So this makes him the perfect human being on planet Earth. Because he's got these three siddhis, he can do the impossible actually. It's a supernatural power that he's attained.
Wow. That's amazing, man. Yeah, that's some deep stuff, man. I really appreciate it. Yeah, I'm kind of falling asleep, Azvaroon. I apologize, man.
MD, one more thing.
Please.
When you're doing the mudra that I showed you, right, the Prithvi, do it on an empty stomach. Don't do it on a full. Don't eat. Do it before your meals or whatever, or when your stomach is feeling completely empty. Then do it for an hour. Otherwise, it will mess up the digestion. The energy that's coming in, your food will be digesting right. It can't do two things at a time. The mind. So do it on an empty stomach when you get up in the morning for an hour or something like that, or in the evening.
Okay, I'll practice it that way. And I'm going to release a video tomorrow on our live stream too. The video is going to be very interesting, showing how melanin is gained on the eye and the reason how I found it out, and proof, scientific proof of why everybody has this baseline eye. Yeah, it'll be a good video. I'll put a short out, probably maybe around lunch, maybe a little after, because that's 12 hours from now. I got to get up like around 6. It's 12:22 right now. So I'll get about 5 hours and stuff, 5.5 hours of sleep. And then, yeah, I'll have that on and I'll stream. I'll try to stream a little early tomorrow, like maybe 8:30, 8 o'clock, 8:30. So yeah, man, thank you for coming on. I thank Scribe, Mr. Rex. Thank everybody in the chat. Alexis, brother, thank you for the support, man. I appreciate it. Mr. Rex, everybody else, you as Varun, Scribe, everybody in the chat, man, thank you. Have a great night and we'll talk again soon.
Okay, goodbye, MD.
Goodbye.